They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. That's so view to myself. Yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation. Now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation.
Get those likes up. Salute.
Now the hard work is all taking me places.
They are spot. Let's go. Cameron Field. Let's go. Eastside easy. Man, you already know Eastside. Yup. Bullet Gibson. Bullet Gibson. Let's get it.
They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate. Elevate, elevate.
Yeah. If you know you already know. You ain't gotta know. If you already ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Shout out to the theme music, Elevate. Shout out to the theme music to the show. It holds a significant place in my heart, and I like it. And this time I ain't do you guys like that, make you listen to the whole song, but you know. We out here elevating, that's for sure, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Shout out to the boxing space. We are back at it again. Second day in a row. You know what I mean? This will be the last day until next week. I think what we're going to do is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays we'll be getting it popping, probably like at 10:30, jumping it off, get the daytime show going. And then, of course, on Monday night, you guys already know we're going to come Monday night as well. So it'll be a Monday night show with the weekend wrap-up, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with your daily update on everything going on in the space, and here are cheap little 2 pennies worth of opinions that we got to offer the space. Shout out to my co-host Ray Davis.
Chilling, Clay. Hopefully everything looking good and prospering today. You know what I mean? Hopefully we in sync. Camera's working fine. Mike's working fine. But you know, at the most part, man, shout out to you, man. Shout out to the people in the chat. You know what I mean? Smash the like button. Remember to give us some love. Don't be afraid to ask your opinions. You know what I mean? Because ask your questions so we can share our opinions or thoughts or bring some truth to the matter. You know what I mean? Because we're all about trying to make the boxing space what it is and keep it boxing. You know what I mean? No doubt.
Man, 100%, man. You know we got topics to talk about. You guys are in the space, so you guys know what you're hearing. We hearing the same stuff. We gonna talk about it, right? Tank in the social media space, and Tank aiming his focus at an unlikely person. I think, I don't know. Based on conversations that's happened in the past, I thought Keyshawn Davis wouldn't be in the conversation as far as Tank is concerned. But look, going into a weekend right now, what Keyshawn Davis looks like, he's damn near probably going to have the fight of the weekend. The fight of the weekend. We don't know yet. I mean, he has a lot of competition clearly, but he has a significant show on Friday night, right? I mean, let's be honest. He's damn near sold out his venue in Norfolk, Virginia. He's headlining his own card. Bob Arum putting all this attention on him. I come to find out Turkey is involved with this. He's also sponsoring this event, which is, I didn't even know that, right? So a lot on Keyshawn Davis's table right now. He's getting some attention, and he's not only getting attention from the boxing space, from us as boxing fans. He's not only getting attention of potentially other people in the 135-pound division, but it looks like maybe the face of boxing might be showing him a little extra attention. You know what I mean? Let's jump on to this algorithm. He's in the algorithm. He's on top of the algorithm this week. And why wouldn't the face of boxing tap in and put his 2 cents in on the backside of an interview on Cigar Talk with Najee? Shout out to Najee with an interview on Cigar Talk. And, you know, Keyshawn, you know, as always, never going to shy away from the questions, never going to shy away from what you ask him. He was asked a question, and look, he gave his perspective like he always does. And did it shock any of us? Man, hell no. At this point, we know what Keyshawn Davis is about. He wants to smoke. Keyshawn Davis feels like he's the top of the food chain in 135 pounds. He feels like he just hasn't been given the fights yet that he needs to show that, but he knows what he knows, right? He's the one in the gym. He's putting the work in. He's doing the road work. He knows how he's built. He knows the cloth he's cut from, and he's not waiting on the validation of the boxing space in order to stake his claim to where he needs to be. And he thinks he's at the top of the food chain, and that's including over Gervonta Tank Davis. And of course, Gervonta Tank Davis isn't going to let that go lightly. He's going to respond if he's interested, and it looks like if his response is aligned with his interest, maybe Tank Davis might be interested in potentially getting some smoke in with Keyshawn Davis. I'll tell you who he's not talking about, though, right now, for whatever reason. He's not talking about Lamont Roach. And we'll talk about it all on the show, of course. Oscar De La Hoya, I saw an interview he just did in the roundtable when he was confronted with the Eddie Hearn situation. Said, listen, man, I'm okay with the 5v5, but Eddie Hearn just doesn't have the fighters right now. Let's be honest. He's bad luck. He's bad luck on his fighters. He's like 17-0. He's like 0-17 going in the year, losing all his fights against Queensberry. All his fighters are suffering from it. And he's actually scared for the Boots Ennises of the world and the Shakur Stevenses of the world, because look, it looks like his bad luck is spreading all over the place, and he hopes these guys doesn't suffer from it. But he kind of hinted towards he might be interested in doing the 5v5, which is good, right? It's good. We definitely appreciate what Oscar De La Hoya has brought to the boxing game this year, not just in matches, right? He's brought the fights, but also the Clapback Thursday. He's been really engaging with the boxing space and doing his thing, and almost like giving a facelift to Golden Boy Promotions, attracting a lot of new talent, and losing some talent as well, like Jaime Munguia, but in the space that way. And of course, Eddie Hearn always fighting to be at the top of the game. He's put a big finger on the pulse of what's going on in America right now, as he signed Boots Ennis, he signed Jalil Hackett, he signed Shakur Stevenson. He says, listen, I can put on some great fights over here, right next to the biggest names over here, the top ranks, the PBCs and the Golden Boy Promotions. Why not? So he staked his claim in the game. We'll talk about that as well, as he's also dropped a fantasy 5v5 list, which I thought was an interesting list. We'll talk about that list as well. And what else we got going on? I also want to talk about a little bit of heavyweight news and what's going on in the heavyweight division as far as Daniel Dubois is concerned, and whatever else comes to mind. I'm sure the chat will keep us in the conversation. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. But back to my co-host. Salute again, Ray Davis. I'm gonna put it on you to go ahead and what do you want to start at? What do we want to talk about right now?
Definitely breaking news. Breaking news is Keyshawn Davis, man. Versus Tank Davis. That seems the breaking news right now, and that seems what everybody's up in smoke about. And whether they're defending Tank, calling out Keyshawn, or Tank, putting stuff on Twitter and taking it down, we have to say that's where it seems that the business is. I'll start off saying that I think it's great for boxing. At least it's somewhere to start with Tank. Adding someone like Keyshawn Davis to his resume and vice versa. It's a big step up for Keyshawn. Hopefully, we don't have any overlining headlines and headliners and things like that. Being a starstruck event, he can get overconfident, overwhelmed with the business. We've just seen two fighters go into a situation like that. One with Tank Davis, which was Frank Martin. The other with Berlanga with Canelo. Stage was a little too big. I think I think Berlanga handled it a little bit better than Frank Martin, but it does give you butterflies. It does separate the situation.
Salute, Stormy B, man. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Matter of fact, hold on 1 second. Let me just do this real quick. I want to do this real quick. Your mic is acting funny, by the way, so you might want to take a look at it while I'm doing this. And I want to go down the list. We got a couple people here in the building that popped up. Shout out to Round One Sports Talk in the building. Edwin, a pleasure to have you in the building, brother. Shout out to Stormy B Man. If you don't know who Stormy B Man is and you're not tapped into the pulse of what's going on in boxing, Stormy B Man, a historian in his own right, but also has great perspective on capturing the heart of this sport and getting right to the meat of it, cutting the fat and getting right to the meat of what really drives this sport. Shout out to Stormy B Man. Jay Will in the building. Salute Jay Will in the building. And my guy, You always bumping heads with my guy, 9 Fingers of Death, Bradley in the building. Shout out to Bradley in the building. You know what I mean? Always here to keep us honest, and keep us on our toes, man. Cameron Fields as well, man. Salute to you too as well, King. But yeah, you were building, basically jumping into this Javonte Tank Davis, Keyshawn Davis situation. The Davises. Oh, no sound, brother. No sound. You have no sound. 0 sound. Yeah. The Davis, I won't say the brothers, but the Davises. Go ahead, say something.
How are we doing now?
You good. Go ahead.
Better sync?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So anyway, what I was saying was, I said the relatives of mine, believe it or not, you know, cousins always fighting in the backyard, bro. It just happens like that. But no, what I was saying is that once we get into those situations, that this stage could be too big, could be too much for Keyshawn. I doubt it. I think he's a gamer. I think he's been to these events. I think he's watched Bud enough where he's been around it. But then it's different when it's you now to be put on that stage. Does the butterflies kick in? Does it change? Does anything like that become a problem? I think Keyshawn is not focused on the fight as much as he should be at right now. I mean, I get it. This is something that just was a question that was led up to things, but this seems to be superseding what's going on at this week. There's going to be talks about this now because it was released the week of the fight. It wasn't like it was a week ago or something that he can get it in and out, and then concentrate back onto the fight. This is definitely going to be some attention. Just watching him and Lemos yesterday, I mean, they even squared up in the locker room, which was pretty cool. You know what I mean? But they were having fun. It seemed like they're really chill with each other. They're going to be great competition in the ring against each other. This is going to be a really good fight with Lemos. But as the Tank thing is heating up, is Tank looking for a partner? Is Tank looking for somebody with a name that's legitimately enough to create the type of atmosphere that we want, the fireworks, the big fights, possibly somebody that can give him hit just as hard, or put him on his back foot and make him think a little bit, make him go into that tool bag and change his game plan. Could Keyshawn be that guy? Can he be making a mistake by fighting somebody like Keyshawn Davis early in this, or late in his part of the career, early in Keyshawn's part of the career? This is fireworks, man. This is something that I've been waiting for, somebody to really put a fire under Tank's foot, other than Shakur, Devin, the names we already know of, Loma eventually calling them out and they're backing out of it. But this Keyshawn thing is something different. I love how the reaction's different now that it's Tank Davis in the picture. When it was other fighters in the picture from Keyshawn calling them out, the fan base were all up in arms, like, oh, Devin soft, this and that. Obviously, we're not seeing the Shakur situation because they're brothers. But now that the Tank name has crossed the platform, not only is it good for boxing, it's good for the fans to now kick back and put Keyshawn's name in mud, which is crazy. So I love the way that moves on that needle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know how that game is played, man. But I'm going to tell you, from the beginning, look, I'm a Keyshawn Davis fan. I'm a fan of a lot of these boxers. You're going to hear me saying that. I don't, you know what I mean? You guys, I hope you guys don't have no issues with me being a fan of boxers and a fan of boxing. But I love what Keyshawn Davis brings to the table when it comes to the not shying away from the conversation. You know what I mean? Look, Keyshawn Davis is a 135-pound fighter. He's been having a hell of a year, one of the best years as far as 135 pounds is concerned. We can argue that Keyshawn Davis may have the best year, maybe the standout fighter at 135 pounds. When you take him all the way from last year, when he popped on a urinalysis for marijuana, he didn't react to it well. People thought that he was kind of addressing it in a way where we were wondering if Keyshawn was really going to, make the right decisions for his career. He found God. Got closer to his God and came back focused and grounded. And I give a lot of that credit to the people around him, right? Shakur, Terrence Crawford, Bomac. The people he have around him have great temperament. Even Andre Ward from time to time, just through affiliation with Shakur Stevenson and Terrence Crawford. He looked like he has the right people in his ear. And then also starting the year off fighting against Jose Pedraza, giving a great performance, a fight that he almost missed out on because that was actually the fight that was scheduled next when it came to right around that time when he popped on a test, he actually lost that opportunity. And that was going to be his standout fight, his breakout fight. That was going to officially cross him over from a prospect into the contender status, right? But then he comes into the year, he gets his second opportunity, he gets the fight against Jose Pedraza, and he does a stellar performance. Then he comes in on his next fight against Miguel Madueno, does a great performance on that. But another significant thing that happened in his life right around that time was the birth of his son. So now he has a child. As a man, if you guys know, you know already, you know, when you had those kids, you might have lived a wild lifestyle before. You might have been, you know what I mean, focused on all the wrong things. But for some guys just don't care, right? They just had kids and they continue being wild out in these streets. But a lot of men get a lot of maturity about them when you see that you got another life that you're looking into your face, and they're depending on you to be on point so that they can eat, so that they can live, so that they can prosper and strive, right? So now he has this motivation that's not only motivating him to take his craft more seriously, but also allowing him to be way more mature about it, which can help a lot of fighters. Shakur Stevenson says he attributes a lot of his maturity and growth to the birth of his daughter. So now he has that child there as well, and he's moving forward, and he's getting scheduled now for his first home field advantage. He's headlining his own card. He has his brothers. He brought his brothers in with him. A dream come true from him in so many ways. And during the journey, always letting it be known that he was willing to fight the likes of a Tank Davis or, Devin Haney or anybody who's at the top of the game. He always also stated that he understood that, he was young in his career and he had a lot of fights ahead of him, but always just made it clear that to these guys that it's not that I'm not ready for you guys. It's just that the game's not ready for me. You guys don't feel like I've done enough, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to continue doing what I'm supposed to do, supposedly, but never get it twisted. Me and you can do what me and you are supposed to do, and I'm ready now, right? And at some point in time, Keyshawn Davis broke through, right? Maybe after the Miguel Madueno fight. Maybe it was after the Pedraza fight, right? Maybe during this buildup, he's broken through, but was told pretty much that he wasn't in the conversation of fighting Gervonta Tank Davis, right? When shout out to Mill City, my brother, who did an interview and had a pretty much a three-way between him, Coach Kenny, and Keyshawn Davis, and I believe Gilly the Kid was also involved in that conversation as well. Shout out to $1 million worth of game, where he said, "Listen, man, I want to smoke with Tank," and he said, "You're not on the list. It's just not going to happen. Tank has other fights that he's interested in. You're not one of the guys on the list." And he was like, "Well, all right, then, whatever, man. All right, you know what I mean?" And he said, "Don't say his name can you not say his name for another year? Can you not say his name for another year?" And even Gil reacted to that. Like, what are you talking about, Kenny? What do you mean don't say his name? He got to say his name. This is boxing. You know what I'm saying? We want him to say the name. We need him to say the names, man. We need everybody to say the names. We need to build the fights. I'm hearing the echo, Ray. That's why I hit you on mute. I'm hearing the echo.
I got you.
All right, cool. So, and I'm just kind of building it up for you guys to know that there is a little bit of a history here, right? And there's always been Keyshawn Davis who's been looking at Tank, and Tank wouldn't even mention his name because he wasn't on Tank's radar, according to Kenny Ellis, and he hadn't earned it yet. He hadn't earned enough accolades or done enough things in the boxing space to earn an opportunity to fight against a Tank Davis. Well, lo and behold, Tank Davis having his fight this year with Frank Martin, rumors going around about the position the PBC may be in, a fight that he's supposed to be fighting against Lamont Roach, which is also interesting that he's not mentioning Lamont Roach's name anymore. He's not putting Lamont Roach's name in Twitter. He's not talking about this fight the way somebody who had a fight coming up with Lamont Roach would be talking about the fight to build the fight up. So even rumors of him, trying to get permission to get his passport stamped to go to Japan and celebrate his birthday. By the way, happy birthday to Tank Davis. If it's not today, I think yesterday was his birthday. I'm not too sure. It's his birthday though. He's officially 30 years old. And happy birthday to the face of boxing, right? So, or one of the faces of boxing. But ultimately, Tank Davis taps into the Twitter space after an interview with Najee and Cigar Talk. You know what? We're gonna tap that in. Najee, don't strike me down, man. I'm gonna put up this video. I don't think Najee cares anymore. Shout out to Najee with Cigar Talk. Let me do that right now, as a matter of fact. I didn't even set it up, guys. I'm such a damn novice. I'm such a rookie, guys. Excuse me, man. I should have already had this going, but let's put this up real quick here. Let's hear what started this whole entire smoke, guys. Let's talk about it.
Record this too. I said, Corby said, "Boy, you got record it. I'm going to do what I do about the nigga. This Tank, nigga. This is Tank. Tank. How you You know what I'm saying? You think you ready for that?
Nigga, yes, I'm ready for that, bro. You can't fuck with me, bro. You can't. You try to get me hyped too. You can't fuck with me, bro.
Okay, now he over here getting me demonetized. Keyshawn is getting me demonetized, but we still gonna rock with it. But look, but look, at the end of the day, I believe this is what all the smoke was about, right? This is what Tank Davis, by the way, having issues with Najee over this part of the interview, bringing up his name in this interview and having giving Keyshawn Davis an opportunity to build some momentum off of his name. And you know, Javante Tank Davis hates that. He doesn't like people clout chasing him or chasing his name down for recognition and using his name. But look, man. First of all, Najee's running a very successful social media platform. He understands what he's doing. And look, for all intents and purposes, is selling this fight. He's selling a fight that the fans might want to see. He's saying, listen, man, you got these other guys. It doesn't look like the Lamont Roach fight is catching the energy and is catching the space the way it's supposed to be. Najee, being a boxing fan, thinking about Shakur Stevenson fighting Tank and saying, listen, Shakur's not available for multiple reasons. A, he's on the wrong side of the street, right? He's in Matchroom. B, he has an injured hand, right? And C, he looks like he has another fight that he's going to put together with William Zepeda coming up. And look, man, Keyshawn Davis is one of the up and coming guys in the division right now. And in all reality, looks like he's going to be win this fight with Gustavo Lemos is going to be challenging Dennis Barancek for that WBO title. So he's going to be one of those guys, one of 4 guys holding the title in that division. And Keyshawn is a legitimate contender for this fight. Let's hear what else.
His coach know that, bro. The bald head dude. The dude told me, yo, just don't call Tank out for the rest of the year. Don't do this, don't do that. Jimmy said, hold on, OG, what you mean don't call him out? What you mean? Them niggas is worried. Niggas is worried. They want me to move to 140 to get out 35. So, I could be too big. I don't gotta fight them no more. No, nigga. I'm staying at 35 and I'm be there until you ready to fight me, nigga.
Ooh, I love this smoke you on, boy.
Listen. We don't even need to say anymore. We can pull that down and understand where the smoke is coming from, because Keyshawn only knows how to say things one way, and that's with all his heart, right? That's all he knows is how to say things one way. And ultimately, Keyshawn saying, listen, at the end of the day, let's fight. Let's not play any games. You know what I'm saying? Let's not play any games. And Tank Davis responds to all of that and lets it be known through Twitter that, man, you don't want no problems like that. And, you know, he said a bunch of other stuff that I won't repeat, you know what I'm saying, on this, but you guys know what it comes down to. I mean, up until this point, Ray Davis, I mean, like, how do you feel about the situation right now? Keyshawn going into his fight this weekend, Tank Davis pretty much responding to him. And some people might want to say Tank Davis is clout chasing to a degree. I don't think it's clout chasing. I'll be honest with you. I've thought about it. I think it's more so responding to that interview. But look, it is at a convenient time for Keyshawn Davis. It's at a time when he has one of his biggest fight of his whole entire career in front of him. And look, it just looks legitimately like Tank Davis and Keyshawn Davis could be, you know what I mean, in the crosshairs of a fight at some point. What do you think? And hold on, I want to address a super chat, but for some reason I don't see the super chat. I know it's here, but don't see it. Hold on a second. Maybe I'm bugging. Maybe it's not here. Maybe it's not here. Okay, I'm sorry if it is here. I missed it. I don't see it. All right, go ahead, brother.
I think this is more of the situation that we want. Him staying at 135 to fight somebody. It keeps it right in the same backyard, the DMV. You know what I mean? The Virginia, Maryland area, the DC area. It keeps it right there. It makes some noise. They have had some history through as youngsters. You know what I mean? He's been around Tank a lot. He's a little younger than the rest of them, so. Them being in the circle of Tank is a little different because he wasn't the star that Shakur and all them guys was. But I think Tank is actually paying attention. He's acknowledging the things that's going on. Him acknowledging is saying something. As far as Tank responding to the situation and Coach Kenny and the situation, the way he put it is a little crazy. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's boxing. It's the stuff that we're not used to seeing in 20 years.
Oh, you're breaking up again, man. That connection. Right, you're breaking up, and now you're actually frozen. Looks like you might. I don't know what's going on over there. So we're just gonna take it from where he left off at. Yeah, man. It just seems like at this point, Tank Davis is responding really to what Keyshawn Davis is saying, but at the same time, you know, just him showing attention. You guys know how Tank is. Tank's not even gonna say nothing, right? And his reaction even to Najee's position in it, he's really upset about Najee allowing Keyshawn Davis to get an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Tank Davis very protective over the narrative, over his name, and over the fights that I don't know. But it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird with Tank because at the same time, where he'll ignore a lot of pushback from the space about fights and things of that nature, but every now and then somebody hits that button on him. It seems like every now and then he gets triggered a little bit, but also what ends up happening after he's triggered, it normally kind of starts snowballing a little bit into situations to where, like this, where it looks like a fight is being built up a little bit here. And let's be honest, Tank Davis needs a dance partner at this point. I mean, Lamont Roach is the dance partner that you guys know is on the table for him, but at the same exact time, the Lamont Roach fight just isn't catching that heat the way you thought the way we thought it would catch heat. I mean, not the way we thought. I never thought it was going to catch heat, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Let's go ahead and check out some what's going on in the chat. I see a lot of people engaging. I don't know. Let me see. Round one in a few. No doubt, round one. We'll open it up. We'll open it up for you to come up here for sure, brother. Let me see here. You can tell me nothing. I see a lot of I see a lot of arguing going on here. The crazy thing. Okay, let's see here. Jerron Purdy. Shout out to Jerron Purdy in the building. Shout out, Jerron. The crazy thing is he talks bad about Devin Haney, but using his phrase is nasty work. The crazy thing, Keyshawn talks bad about Devin Haney, but using his phrase, it's nasty work. Okay. Let's continue scrolling down. Good morning. Didn't know you came on. Yeah, Jalen. I think I'm going to start this thing, Jalen. Shout out to the Queen, Jalen. I think we are going to start going up consistently Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at like 10:30 in the morning. We'll see. We'll see how the consistency looks. I like the engagement, so we're going to follow you. Carl Brown says, Claymore, you don't want to drop the link, bro. Not right now, Carl. Not right now. You know what I mean? Maybe a little later. I ain't going to lie. While I do. Let's see here. Cameron Field says, while I do not think Tank is scared of any fighter, I do think he's afraid to lose, man. And as we as fans get fights that we don't want to ask for, and we as fans, yeah, Cameron Field, salute Queen. Salute
That's
Queen.
a great point.
Yeah, man. I love that picture of Cameron Fields. I ain't gonna lie. Every time I see your picture, Cameron, I'm like, well, shit, that is such a natural African queen. You know what I mean? Beautiful skin. I'm not trying to push up on you. I'm a married man, but I am gonna acknowledge that that picture up there. But yeah, man. I don't know if he's scared to lose. I don't know if that's what I want to say it is, but I do think there is a point where it comes down to what do I have to do, and him not wanting to do more than he has to do. I do say that Tank Davis seems like when it comes to challenging himself, when it comes to taking risk and moving in a direction that's not so certain, it does look like he's reserved about making moves like that. And he doesn't have to. He's legitimately one of the faces of boxing, and this is just according to the boxing space and the way they address him and the way they celebrate him. But at the end of the day, when it comes to taking real risk, it does look like he has reservation about doing that. Shout out Jalen in the building, showing some love. Thank you, Jalen. GM Super Chat is there. I appreciate you, Jalen. Thank you, Queen. Thank you. You know what I mean? But you back, Ray?
Yeah. I've been here. I was here.
Okay.
I'm listening. I've been tapping in. I'll let you cook, man. Go ahead, keep reading.
Okay,
people
no
in there.
doubt. Let's see. Let's salute here. Keyshawn is setting himself to lift his profile. Yeah, pound for pound. Blaze pound for pound saying Keyshawn is setting himself to lift his profile as a fighter. 100%. That's easy. But it's almost unfair because some people are going to try to paint the picture that Keyshawn Davis is like clout chasing Tank, right? And they do that to a lot of fighters who mention Tank. But the reality is, it's also the guy doing the interview, right? They're not going to skip over. You're not going to be in the 135-pound division. We're thinking you're shaking things up. We're thinking you're one of those guys and not bring up the actual face of boxing who happens to be in your division and ask you, what do you think it looks like to fight against that guy, right? And I think Tank kind of wanted Najee to not mention his name. And it's getting to that point where I'm wondering, like, what's the point of it all? You know what I mean? You're going to mention he doesn't want anybody to mention his name, but at the same time, you know, conveniently, he'll jump into other people's algorithms like Devin Haney and things of that nature. And if they got something going on, he'll go and comment on them. He'll say something around the time when they're popping, right? But at the same time, when they mention his name, he doesn't seem to like the feeling of it. What do you think?
Oh man, this is crazy. I don't want to say so much of that. I think it caught him off guard and put him on the spot. I think a lot of people like that, but here's what gets me with Tank Davis or his team or anybody of that nature. The protection plan is real. The limited liability protection plan is real. Unfortunately, I don't think it's so much of protecting Tank from from injury or boxing matches, things of that nature. I think it's protecting him from himself, for him not to go out there, say the things he really wants to say, how he really wants to feel, how he really wants to respond to certain things. I think he has somebody in place to kind of keep him from doing certain things and reacting certain ways. That's why he reacts. He takes it down, or he'll start saying stuff. He stops. He hasn't been on social media as much as he has when he was early on with Floyd, when he was wilding out a little bit. He's very cautious of what he puts out and says things in the nature. Then his team go out there and they speak for him. They're his mouthpiece. They try to intertwine and interact with other fighters where the Keyshawn Davis thing came up. The Shakur Stevenson interview was there. Like the responses and the reactions to these things are proof to say, like, look, even Coach Kenny is saying, "Hey, Shakur, can you wait till March? Don't mention his name. You mentioning his name. What does that got to do with anything, bro? Like, this is a professional sport. You guys are protecting this dude from what? We're trying to make big fights. We're trying to put him on the map, and we're trying to get on the map. You're not going to be able to sit there and hold us in a situation where it's not going to be you only. You know what I mean? We want a piece of the pie. We want our names in the lights. We want to be stars as well." And as long as you keep holding us back, that's going to be crazy. And I think that's a big part of that play. I think that's where a lot of people, fans base, are starting to question. I like what the young lady said in the super chat, Jaylene. Shout out to her. What she said made a lot of sense. And Thomas Hill, to your point, I want to know the standards, honestly, because I will speak on that too. Because the standards that you're mentioning, what are the standards? Because I've seen things that go from the other sides where Tank's opponents or potential Tank's opponents, let's say that, or people that that want or will like to fight Tank, those people get pushed back all the time. But Tank can do, say, and feel the way he wants. And I don't understand. And I know you're a Tank fan, Thomas Hill, and I'm not taking a shot at him. I'm talking about the fan base. I want to know where the difference is. Why is it different for Tank to say and respond to whoever he wants and interact with anybody he wants at any time? Shout out to Mr. Big Play Bray up there in the super chat. We're gonna get to that in a second, Clay. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, I want to know what it is that the standards are different for Tank, or why is it different for Tank? Because he's the bigger name, or because he has a bigger fan base? I don't think he's a bigger name. I think a lot of these guys have just as big as names in the ring. Some of them search and sought legacy. And I think that the problem is they came on the tail end of things. And I think that you were saying, like, is there an issue with Tank? I feel some type of way, maybe possibly clout chasing. I don't think so. I just think that Tank just feels that he's in a world of his own. He's in a swimming pool that's the Olympic size, and he wants to play in that pool by himself. He don't want nobody else over there messing with him, swimming in his pool. There's an ocean across the street. Go over there, get out my pool. That's it. If I invite you, then you're welcome. And that's what I think it comes down to, Clay, at the end of the day. And I think that's how people want to acknowledge it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you to a large degree. I do think that Tank does take he does take a lot of things personally, right? I haven't seen Tank like officially transition and translate into a space to where he understands who he is, and he understands that being at the top of the hill, a lot of people are going to be coming for you. And it doesn't look like he's accepted the fact that being at the face of boxing, that all the fighters that are in your division who also want to be the best, and all boxers want to be the best in the world, they all want to be recognized as the best in the world, that they all acknowledge that is coming down Gervonta Tank Davis Avenue. That in order to get that accolade, in order to call yourself who you think you are personally when you look in the mirror every day, that you have to fight the best. This is boxing. This is combat sports, and involves us fighting each other. And it does seem like at times he takes things very personal. And I agree with you as far as the whole staying in my own pool and you're not invited. Unless I invite you, don't call my name. I think that does kind of like stand out as a characteristic of Tank Davis that he does do. Now, Thomas Hill said which of his contemporaries are actually living up to the standard that Tank is failing in your eyes? Genuine question. Well, I don't remember saying that Tank is failing at anything, Thomas Hill, right? I definitely didn't say that. But I think once again, as the fans of boxing and the fans of Tank Davis see us having conversations like this, their first instinct is to jump into defense mode for Tank, right? To jump into, oh, you're kicking Tank's back in again. You're attacking Tank again. And that's not what this conversation is about at all. This is actually about Keyshawn Davis's, more than anything, in my opinion. This conversation is about Keyshawn Davis's right to call out the best of the best in his division and to be ready to fight the best and to not shy away from questions, not shy away from conversation about fighting those guys, right? If he's fighting, if there's a potential of fighting Gervonta Tank Davis, him communicating that he's not scared to fight Gervonta Tank Davis, and he's going to add his sauce to it. He's going to say he's going to beat his ass. He ain't got nothing for me. Well, welcome to boxing. This is the world we live in. You know what I'm saying? So let me see. Thomas Hill said, not you in particular. Well, Thomas, I'll be honest with you. I don't do the defending other people's perspective thing. Like, I don't know why you know what I'm saying? I don't know why the people who are pointing at Tank's failures as far as in matchmaking, making great fights, whatever it is that Tank Davis, the standard he's being held to that standard because of his accomplishments, because of how much of a big star he is, because of how much of a talent he is. And that's just part of the game, right? But we can't defend everybody. Everybody has their own reasons. I'm sure there are people out there who are straight up hating on Tank because he light-skinned and short, and they don't like light-skinned and short dudes.
Whoa.
Listen, I'm sure there's a list of reasons
though,
as to why a variety of people are hating on one person. I can't answer the question as to why everybody is hating on Tank, but I know me personally, I do ask for Tank to make the biggest fights possible because I want to see him compete on that. Shout out to Mr. Big Play Bray in the building. Let me go ahead and get him up here with the $5 holla. I appreciate you, Mr. Big Play, saying 2025 is going to be an important year for Tank because a lot of young guys are coming up, and if he doesn't be careful, the game is going to pass by. If he doesn't be careful, the game is going to pass by. I could rock with that, Mr. Big Play Bray. I do believe that the division is coming together, man. And when you think about Andy Cruz, Abdullah Mason, and yes, Floyd Schofield, and obviously Keyshawn Davis seems to be leading the way with the new generation of talent in that space. Raymond Mortala, 135 is going to continue moving. And I was just talking about this yesterday, saying that if Tank's fans don't want us asking him to fight certain fights, right? They don't want us holding him to any kind of standard, great standards. Well, what's going to happen is we are going to leave him alone, right? Eventually, what's going to happen is the division's going to move, right? Things are going to happen. New stars are going to come up. New champions are going to come up. New great matchups are going to come up. And eventually we will leave him alone. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I think for Tank Davis right now, it might look like the best thing for him because he just wants his peace and quiet, and he just wants to make his money and fight his fights, and he's doing that, right? The peace and quiet, he's not getting as much as he wants. But I would say ultimately, as far as legacy is concerned, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, I don't know if somebody might not look back at this, or he might not have hindsight on what he could have done in comparison to what he did do and how happy or disappointed he might be in his legacy. But that's all on him, you know what I mean? But yeah, eventually, like Mr. Big Play said, young guys are coming up. And if he's not careful, the game is going to pass by. Yeah, the game's not going to wait forever. We're going to push on Tank Davis to make these great fights. All these things are going to come up, but ultimately at some point, the rubber will hit the road. You know what I'm saying? And things will start to move at that point. And we'll see, it's one thing to complain about being talked about, but it's one thing to just everything go silent and nobody is talking about you at all. Right?
Yeah, and I just want to ask you a question. Maybe you can address this too. I mean, it's a matter of the question is what was said and what we think of it, right? So when Coach Kenny said to Keyshawn, "You're not on the list," what the hell are we talking about this list for? If you're fighting Lamont Roach, you know what I mean? All these guys on this list, he said he was coming for. Yeah, I'm coming for these ninjas, right? I'm coming for you. I'm going to make this my run. I got a certain amount of fights I want to get done, and these guys are here. And this guy's not on it. That's what Coach Kenny echoed for Tank, as Tank had made this statement himself. What is going on with this list, and there's no disrespect to Tank, there's no disrespect to his team. This is something that they know that's going on behind the scenes. I want to know in your mind, or anybody in the chat, you guys can speak on it. I want to know in the mindsets of you guys of what's going on. How do you feel, and why are we getting these things that are not coming to plan for Tank Davis?
Yeah. Shout out to Carl Brown in the building. Says, I'm not even a Tank fan. I just keep hearing his name when it don't be no news about him that came out. Well, Carl, you know,
This is news.
This is news. He was on Twitter going at it with Keyshawn Davis. That's what we're talking about. We're not randomly throwing shots at Tank Davis. But look, man, like I just said, man, I think my last statement kind of covered it a little bit. Eventually we will stop talking about Tank. Eventually, you know what I'm saying? If he's not giving the fans the fights that they want, if he keeps on pushing back like this towards boxing and saying that, you know, people are, you know, if he continues to do this, the divisions will continue to move. You know what I mean? Keyshawn's going to be a champion eventually. If not right now, eventually at some point in time. Shakur Stevenson is going to fight Williams Zepeda. He can fight Raymond Mortala. He can move up to 140 and fight 140-pound fighters up there. He can do things outside of fighting Tank. Matter of fact, a lot of people held Shakur Stevenson accountable because he did move on, right? He went to Matchroom, was trying to fight Joe Cordina, was going to try to fight Williams Zepeda, and people were like, oh, now you're not calling Tank's name out. Eventually, everybody has a career. Nobody's career can be built around one boxer. So eventually, at some point, your name won't ring bells like it used to. And I know that seems crazy, and maybe that's what everybody wants. Well, I mean, I'm telling you, nothing lasts forever, and it's not far-fetched that you hear it sooner, that it goes quiet sooner rather than later. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Let's go here through here. I think Hunter Young said something. You know,
you got a couple of people that entered the chat too. So salute to all the people that entered the chat. I don't know if you want to go down the list. I've seen Ariana, Hunter Young.
Right.
I seen, I believe Roscott was already here. Ordinary M. I see. And who else? Seen a few people in here.
Yeah, Thomas Hill
That
in here
entered.
too.
Yep, Thomas Hill, Carl Brown. Shout out to you guys for entering. Timothon. Hey, if that's what you call it. Transform, bro. Pause. I'm just messing with you. But that's crazy. Yeah, shout out to y'all. Welcome to the chat. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. You know what I mean? Leave a super chat or even a cash app if you want. It's at the bottom of the screen. We're here to talk boxing. We hope we can get all your answers and questions answered today. If not, soon.
All right.
Shout out.
Hunter Young says, Tank couldn't make the fights until recently. Dev, Theo, Loma were not in Bob's plans. Hell, Bob told Bill Haney he signed with the wrong promoter. Making the fights is not clear cut.
You just say that.
I agree. You know what I mean? He's been his own boss now for about going on, about 2 years. He's been doing his thing. Look, man, I don't want to turn this conversation into I'm attacking Tank and he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. I just keep it simple, and we are going to move on because I got a bunch of other stuff I want to talk about as well. But I'm just going to say, look, man, as long as Tank is great, as long as he's a great talent, as long as he's a face of boxing, he's going to be on the tip of the tongue of anybody who can get a fight with him. Pause. Right? He's going to be spoken on. Right? People are going to ask questions to other fighters about him. He's Tank Davis, bro. Like, there's no other getting around it. There's no way that Keyshawn Davis, that Shakur Stevenson, that Dennis Baranchek, that Raymond Mortala, that Williams Zepeda, that any of the big fighters, even Abdullah Mason, I've heard get asked questions about this, and he's not even considered a contender yet. There's nobody in 135 pounds who's looking like a generational talent who's going to sit down in an interview and not have to answer questions about what it looks like to fight Tank Davis. It's just not going to happen, right? So that's part of the game. Tank's going to respond to the people who he's interested in, or who, in my opinion, who he feels like he probably can get into a fight with, or I don't know how he looks at it. But in this case, Keyshawn Davis, and as far as Keyshawn Davis is concerned, this is a good thing. Now, I want to move the needle a little bit more towards Keyshawn Davis's side of the conversation and say that, well, look, he's getting a lot of attention, like Ray Davis mentioned a little earlier, right? He's getting a lot of attention because of this Tank Davis situation, and he's getting a lot of attention because of this huge event he has to go into. And I thought it was significant what you said, Ray, as far as Keyshawn needing to focus on this fight. This is really important for him. This is the biggest night of his life. The last time somebody sold out that arena in Norfolk, Virginia was the late, great Pernell Whitaker. You know what I'm saying? So this is a big deal for Keyshawn. He does need to focus and tune out what's going on here with Tank Davis as much as he can. He doesn't need to be focusing his energy on that. And I'm expecting any type of social media interaction he has, any type of media interaction he has, they're probably going to bring this up because it seems to be the hot topic right now, what's going on between Tank and Keyshawn. But Keyshawn has a huge amount of responsibility and accountability coming his way in the form of an Argentinian fighter named Gustavo Lemos. And this guy's not somebody you want to take your eye off of, right? That rattlesnake. If there's a rattlesnake in the room, don't look away. Keep your eye on that rattlesnake until he's been secured, put away, or killed, right? You don't just sit there and coexist in a space with a rattlesnake moving around the room. And he has one in the form of Gustavo Lemos. Do you think his mind is where it needs to be right now? Are you nervous about that? Or do you think he has a temperament around him to focus on what it's supposed to be and ultimately give his best performance on Friday night?
I mean, obviously, we know this interview was pre-recorded, but it is bringing some buzz and it's creating some conversation. He will have to talk and address these things because it was released. As far as him focusing on his fight, he seems to have all his T's crossed and his I's dotted. So it seems to be focused a little bit, but this can really spin out of control here on his end. And it can go a whole different way where he's not focused on this fighter that's in front of him, which is a dangerous fight and his biggest fight up to date, up to par. We just seen this guy literally get a moral victory in which he should have won that fight against Richardson Hitchens. This is a very dangerous fight. We also have this guy now coming down from 140. He's probably going to rehydrate, if not to the size of Keyshawn, if not bigger, and he's going to hit harder, I believe, than most people at 140, and this is going to be significant. So him not focusing on this fight or really coming to the point of him wanting to create any challenges or damage to Lemos in this fight and focus on the points of Tank Davis. I mean, we already seen him taking his shirt off in the locker room with Lemos, squaring up, laughing, having fun with him. Is he taking this fight seriously enough? You know what I mean? I get it. He's a new dad. You know what I mean? So certain things take the perspective away. But we don't want this to be the problem. We don't want this to be the downfall before the wheels get spinning. Like you said, the rubber has to hit the floor. And if he's not focused on this, he loses, he'll reset it himself. He's done. You know what I mean? It's over. So
Yeah,
we don't want that to happen.
Yeah, at a minimum, a setback. You know what I mean? At a minimum. Yeah, this is a big deal, man. And I think though he has the right people around him. I think Bomac, I think Terrence Crawford, I think Shakur Stevenson. I think the access he has to boxing greatness, even Andre Ward, people who are successful in their own right before him, who are setting the path for him. He has the people around him that are gonna stand him and keep him an honest person and say, listen, man, F that. There's no fight there. That's just personal stuff going on. That's just shots being thrown. Maybe even a little bit of clout chasing going on. Who knows what's happening there? That can't be your focus right now. This guy deserves all of your attention, and you need to focus your attention on what's in front of you because you got a lot of issues standing in front of you. Gustavo Lemos, arguably, you know what I'm saying, won an IBF eliminator at 140 pounds against Richard Hitchinson. Arguably won it, right? Because Richard Hitchinson ultimately got the judges on his side, but a lot of people felt like he won that fight. We saw what he can do. A lot of pressure, a lot of punches. He doesn't stop coming forward. He's going to have to really put his game face on, and this fight is going to be be a huge deal. I don't know. I think Thomas Hill's going at it with somebody in the
I know he was talking to Bullet Gibson a minute ago, but
okay,
he could be responding to us. Thomas is tight fast, bro. Who knows?
Yeah.
But shout out to Thomas Hill, man.
Carl Brown in here says they say 140 is just 5 pounds more, but don't say Keyshawn or Shakur can fight people there too. I just don't get how we can say Tank fight them, but they don't have to fight each other. Real talk. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I ain't gonna lie, man. I think people go deep with this, man. I think people hear Tank's name and they get triggered, bro, and they don't want us, it's always about somebody else, like, and people don't want to acknowledge who he is. I don't know. Or they just want him to be like the best, but they want him to be treated like people who aren't. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, man, it's something about being special. When you're special, you can't bring up why aren't you being treated like everybody else? The answer is intertwined with you being special. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be different, but at the same time be treated the same. You can't be more, but at the same time being treated less. it doesn't work that way in life, right? With great power comes great responsibility. Shout out to Spider-Man, right? So that's part of the game. I don't know. People seem to get in their feelings and they turn into something. And what I've learned in this boxing space right now is if you're not careful, you'll be dragged into a conversation where you're going to sound like a person who's hating on Tank, or you know what I mean? You won't sound like a person who's interested in boxing anymore because you'll be so busy fighting off people who are defending it and trying to like get your point across that you sound like that. So I've learned to allow people to have their opinion, man. Just feel the way they're going to feel. I'm going to say what I feel, and we're going to move forward in it, brother. And we hope everybody works it out. But ultimately, as fans, I hope we're always pushing for great boxing, man, and great fights in the ring, just like we see all the drama outside the ring in the Twitterverse. You know what I mean? So let's.
So
right?
it's a courtyard, bro. It's a courtyard of fighters. You know what I mean? And they all have to take the court. You know what I mean? You always have to get on there, play that 1-on-1, and get that win. In 21, right? If we're not trying to put ourselves out there, trash talking and doing these things, how are people going to even see the legitimacy of these fighters? We want to see the big fights. Best fight the best. That's what it's called, right? For a reason in boxing, any other combat sport. At the end of the day, we want to see these fights, and we're not going to see them if it's stalemate and we're just calling out guys over here and guys over there, and we're avoiding the guy at the top of the hill. I mean, everybody wants to be on the top of that hill. They want to reign supreme, just like the so-called face of boxing, right? We want to see that. So shout out to Tank Davis, shout out to Keyshawn Davis, my cousins over there in Norfolk and in Baltimore. You know, I mean, let's get it popping, man. Let's see it happen. I'll even go out there and I'll wear my Davis t-shirt. Family reunion, bro. You know what it is.
No doubt. No doubt. So moving the needle off of this subject, but it is what it is. Interesting topic. We'll see what it turns out to. I'm looking forward to see if this can manifest into a fight. I'll be honest with you. That's all I care about. I'm looking to see this manifest into some sort of fight that we as a fans can witness. I'm looking for a great fight for Tank Davis as a imaginary matchmaker. You know what I mean? I'm out here looking for a fight. It does look like Shakur Stevenson is going to be busy at least for the next 6 to 8 months, you know what I mean, just tied up between getting his hand rehabilitated and ultimately fighting William Zepeda in potentially February, and then we'll see what happens after that. But in the meantime, Keyshawn Davis is fighting on Friday after this win. It looks like the next fight for him should be some sort of title contention. If it's not for Dennis Berinchyk, maybe a title shot at Tank Davis. We never know, right? Let's see what happens there. I want to move forward though into the other half of this weekend's big fights, and that's in Jaron Ennis, right? Jaron Ennis going into his into this weekend, a rematch with Karen Kugudachin, and I saw an interview with Bozy Ennis where he's talking about what went wrong in that last fight, right? What ultimately went wrong in that last fight, and he said it was pretty much that Boots got used to people fighting him, not running from him, and that Karen's movement and evading any type of real confrontation in the ring was frustrating Boots. And it seems like going into this fight, we're going to have to see a more patient Boots, a Boots who doesn't get into his emotions. No matter how you want to look at it, it did look like he was frustrated in that fight with Karen. And also, obviously, a Boots who can cut the ring off, preparing for a Karen who moves around. Now, I've already told you guys that I don't think Karen is going to move around as much as people think he is. I think he's going to, but I think he's going to engage a lot more. But that being said, though, Boots cutting off the ring and making that his priority, I think we're going to see even less movement going into that fight. What improvements are you looking to see from Jaron Boots Ennis going into this fight?
Wow. I did kind of touch in on it yesterday a little bit. Definitely to be able to cut off the ring and not try to lead us with these being a special fighter. Just be the boxer that you are. Be the fighter that you are. Go in there and fight your game plan. We don't need the highlights. We don't need the circles around the ring. We don't need none of that. We need to see him get in the ring. We need to see him just handle business and get out of there. You know what I mean? We don't need to showcase anymore. We know who Boots is. We know what you are. Just sit there and do your thing, bro. That's it. I ain't got nothing else.
Do you think that Boots should be willing to have a boring fight on Saturday night? Worst case scenario. In other words, if if Karen is really moving around that way, if Karen is making it difficult to have that kind of fight that's exciting, do you think Boots' his ability to accept the fact that this is going to be a fight where I'm winning it round by round, and if I get the knockout at some point because Karen decides to engage, so be it. But at the same time, let's walk away with a victory. Let's go ahead and secure and protect that IBF title we have so that we can see what opportunities are there for us at 147, so we can make a final decision on how we're going to handle this conundrum that's in front of us, because 147 doesn't look like a lot of champions are volunteering to fight Boots. I've heard Mario Barrios kind of speak in the direction of, he has no problem fighting Boots, but we've never seen that manifest into any type of offer or any type of accepting of an offer. So what can we say about that? We saw Brian Norman Jr. A lot of fans say that he effectively priced himself out of that fight. I'm not necessarily subscribing to that necessarily, you know what I'm saying? But I can see where they're coming from. Asking for 2-3 times your biggest payday to fight for unification. It does kind of look shaky a little bit. But at the same time, Brian Norman dealing with an injury that he's healing up from. He was actually supposed to be on this card, on the Keyshawn Davis card, as a co-headliner. And then you got Stanionis, of course, in the division. I don't know. He has to see what's going to happen, but I think the first step is going ahead and protecting his belt and winning this fight. And I wonder if he's going to carry it that way, or is he going to force it again and try to make this fight something that Karen Kugudajin is very adamant about making sure it's not. What do you think?
Okay, I have a master game plan on that part, but I want to touch base on what you just said about the first part, which was Boots making the fight boring and sitting back and letting the fight continue as it was round 13, right? No, I think Boots needs to, whatever his game plan is on how to cut off the ring and how to get this guy up out of there, is what he needs to focus on, number one. Number two, the Barrios situation, and Barrios did say he was willing to fight him and this and that. We don't know what stopped that fight from happening. Was it his promoter? Was it the PBC? Was it just the guys never talked, or whatever the case may be? Was Eddie Hearn buffing when he said these contracts? Was Barrios already signed into a fight, or whatever the case may be? Barrios also doubled down on saying he understands why Brian Norman asked for an extraordinary amount of money, because this is not going to be an easy task. There's a risk versus reward, and I want to get paid for this fight. So we also seen that issue. Now we're going to the Brian Norman situation. We know that fight has now probably increased its value, increases is drops because of where it took place. It's probably going to be worth the $2.1 million to make this fight happen, because now everybody's going to make this. It's definitely a pay-per-view now because people want to see it. Last but not least, Stanionis, who also seems to be running away from Boots and has been running for quite some time. We want to see that, but has he even been on the big stage to be asking for money that isn't deserved and things of that nature? No, he's been fighting on prelims all in free cards pretty much his full career. So he hasn't even showcased himself to be on the main card or to show us that he's really about that life. But he is a champion in all due respect. And I think he should be in the mix. He should also give Boots a shot and not be wary of losing or any of these things. And he wants a payday. Last but not least, the person I would like to see fight Boots would be Conor Benn. I've been putting Conor Benn's name in the hat for the last year. I think Conor Benn, they're under the same umbrella. It's an easy fight. It should be an easy fight to make. And I think Conor Benn can even go out there and get one of these fights with one of the other champions faster than Boots can. Get a belt, and I think he's ranked in the WBC pretty high, in the WBA pretty high, where he can go out there and get one of those belts, and then make the unification fight with Boots, make that fight interesting, give us the sample fight that we all been waiting for. Lastly, the guy right there in your hometown that's been calling you out for the last 2 years, saying that you're overhyped, and that's our own boy Blair the Flair Cobbs. I mean, that's the last guy I can add to this conversation, because I don't think anyone else is willing to jump in that ring. Actually, I'm lying. Jalil Hackett also is a guy that wants to see some action, but he wants to get a belt first. Nobody wants to see him until he gets a belt, because again, like Boots, the risk is not worth the reward. And with a guy like Hackett, so I think that also becomes a potential fight at 147. But not every these guys are lining up and knocking on the door at Boots in his gym or in his backyard saying, "Let me in. We want to get this fight going on," and it is what it is.
Yeah. And going into the fight, we'll see what it looks like for for Boots. And yeah, I like that you brought up Conor Benn. Actually, Conor Benn in the news also as of recent. I think his suspension is completely gone now. I don't think he's suspended anymore. He's available to fight anybody. I'm assuming his next fight would probably be on that Riyadh, on one of those Riyadh season cards now that he's out of suspension, and probably going to coordinate something with Chris Eubanks, get that Eubanks Conor Benn, that Eubanks Benn legacy rivalry kind of squared away. You know what I mean? We'll see how that turns out. But I also hear Conor Benn talking about Devin Haney and maybe even talking about Boots Ennis as well, trying to get involved in a lot of those fights. I'm sure Eddie Hearn's going to be very eager to get him involved in the space right now. You know what I'm saying? Very involved.
Right.
All right. So we got that out the way with going in with Boots Ennis. What else we got to talk about here? I do have a list of stuff. I put it on my little notes here. Oh yeah, Oscar De La Hoya. Did I mention? Yeah, but pretty much Oscar De La Hoya did say that he looked like he was entertaining making that fight happen. Did you get a chance to look at Eddie Hearns' fantasy list?
No, I did not. Do you
So I'll
have it
go
on the
over it with
screen?
you. So he basically said like he wanted Jaron Ennis versus Ryan Garcia, which I thought was interesting, right? Like Ryan Garcia, where'd that come from? Shakur Stevenson, obviously, versus William Zepeda. Israel Madrimov versus Virgil Ortiz, which I think would just be a nightmare for Virgil to have to find another Eastern European again, like Serhii Bohachuk. But we know Israel Madrimov and Serhii Bohachuk is fighting on the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk 2 card. So, you know, that's obviously super fantasy. Jai Opatai versus Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. What do you think about that fight? Right? And then Jack Catterall versus Jose Ramirez. Almost like he's lining up. Maybe he thinks he's leaning towards Jose Ramirez to beat Arnold Barbosa. But a fantasy card by Eddie Hearn. I think more so in response to Oscar De La Hoya kind of making it sound like there's not enough fighters over there to fight us. Like, you know, he's so overwhelmed with great fighters and Eddie has no more fighters left. What do you think about that? About them fighting finally?
I think it's a great victory. I think they should have been intertwining, believe it or not, being on the same platform. They should have been making a lot of fights happen against each other on their own platform. This is something that should be happening more often, especially with Oscar and Eddie Hearn co-promoting these fights, getting these big fights out there. And now that they got a 5 for 5, there's going to be some money in the way. The promoters actually get a bag. It's going to be something that's going to be dope. I remember a couple of months ago, or if not less, a couple of months ago, I heard Oscar kicking Turkey's back and talking about this 5 for 5 stuff is garbage, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. We don't need him, this and that. And then that money came through and he's like, yo, check clear. Yo, let's get this going. Like, yeah, I like this 5 for 5. So now it's so funny how money can make you whistle a different tune. But now I want to see these fights happen. He's obviously picking the fights that he would like to see. He think the fans want to see, and I don't mind seeing none of those fights at all. I think another point is, does Eddie get does Oscar get to say what his fantasy fight should be, and we can see what they can collab on and make great fights happen. Does Liam Paro get in the mix of anything? I mean, we have Matthias. I believe he's still signed to Eddie. Does he get in the mix or anything?
Matthias has moved on. He's with a
different. He only had one fight. He left. Okay, dang, broke his contract.
One or two fights. Maybe one. I know one for sure. But I'm wondering if it's one or two.
Okay. So if he moved on, I thought he had a couple fight deals. But hey, it is what it is. Let's see what happens. But anybody that's in that stable of Eddie Hearn, let's see what we got at Matchroom. Let's see what you guys have. Instead of talking about it, let's be about it. You know what they say.
They say everything, but let's fight.
That was next.
Right. No doubt.
What's up, 2 Cents? Echo.
Yeah, salute 2 Cents, salute Echo, salute everybody in the building for sure. Hey, Echo, I sent you a message yesterday, man. Blue was trying to get you up on a panel with Stormy B. Yesterday on the show. But I want to go ahead and say that Oscar De La Hoya to me is still showing me some reservation energy on making this happen. I don't know what that's all about. You know, like I said, I've been a fan of Oscar De La Hoya this year. I think he's been a standout promoter in his own right. I'm not sure if I'm ready to give him promoter of the year accolades, but he's been a standout promoter, you know, really pushing his interviews, really pushing for certain fights, you know, doing a good job promoting his fighters, and promoting what he's accomplishing over there at Golden Boy Promotion with all the fighters that he has under his banner. But at the same exact time, I didn't really see, you know, the people around him on that round table were really pushing for it. They were excited about it, but it did seem like Oscar was trying to downplay the value of the 5v5. It did look like that. And I don't know what that's connected to. If that's more so just paranoia or anxiety about making the 5v5. Does he not have faith in his fighters? Does he want to starve Eddie out? Does he not want to do business with Eddie? He spoke and said that he's willing to do business with Eddie. He works with all promoters and he loves it. And, you know, obviously bringing up Turkey Al-Sheikh and what he's bringing to the table, saying one of the main things that he brings to the table is that crossover experience, the promoters fighting each other, you know, cross promoting with different platforms. But he didn't seem that confident or excited about putting his 5v5 together. You think Oscar De La Hoya is motivated to do something like that?
I think he does. I think he sees the riches before he sees the goal. And I think he's willing to jump in the ring for that purpose. Oscar seems to be all about the money. I think the power or the belts and all that stuff, the accolades, is not in his foreseeable future. I think he's always been chasing his money, and I think that's where we're gonna go with it. And I think that's how he acts. Shout out to Ross Clot. Who's a bum today, Ross Clot? No doubt. Let me know.
For like 2 minutes.
Let me know, sir. I know I got him, but yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's.
Bullet Gibson said Claymore Zor Abdulev would be a great step up for Kid Austin or Abdullah Mason. What do you think, fam? 100%. Zor Abdulev is going to put his name in the conversation. We talked about him a little bit yesterday, Bullet. He's definitely there. He's definitely there to get an opportunity. And once again, them Eastern Europeans just show out and represent in a whole different way. I think he's Eastern European. I think he's from one of those Eastern European countries.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of those guys, man. A great test for Kid Austin, and a super test, obviously, for Abdullah Mason. A big step up fight for Abdullah Mason if he was to get a fight with him. No doubt, man. No doubt. Let's see here. They just going at it right here.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, no, I've been watching. I've been thinking about that, but no, I think Abdullah is set up for the Muratalla, man. That's going to be the fight for the IBF. I believe they already had that in stone. I think they're waiting for Kambosos to make the announcement. I'm sorry, Lomachenko to make the announcement. Another good step up fight would be a Kambosos. Speaking of Kambosos, I think him bringing the pedigree he has. I know he has some losses in his big fights, but the guy was a three belt champion. The guy did upset the world with fighting Teofimo, who fights very similarly with these jump in and jump out types actions as somebody as a Floyd Schofield, a very athletic fighter. And Kambosos actually did him dirty. This could be a great matchup for Kambosos, somebody right up his alley to get an upset in a fight like this. So let's not even move him out the way.
No doubt. Let's see what happens with them. You know what I mean? I wanted to talk about Daniel Dubois. You know, yesterday I had a conversation on Blue Blood with Stormy B-Man. Shout out to Stormy again. And we were talking about Daniel Dubois a little bit, and you know the rough year he's had. Not rough as far as bad, but rough as far as high level competition, right? Talking about, does he deserve a tune-up fight and who the tune-up fight would be at this point, being that he started off the year fighting Jarrell Big Baby Miller, a grueling 10-round with 10 to 12 rounds. I think it was 10 rounds. A 10-round fight that he ended up stopping Jarrell Big Baby Miller, the first person to do it. Right, but it was a grueling fight, and then going into a Philip Ergovich where he spent like the first 3 to 5 rounds, at least the first 3 rounds, getting hit with direct right hands. You know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't get his head out the way, and then ultimately ending the year with Anthony Joshua in a fight that I don't think was grueling, but you know, a high level competitive fight. But now becoming an official full IBF heavyweight champion, is it time for him to take a tune-up at this point, or does he keep his foot on the gas and move on to achieving greater things? And I think the only greater thing in front of him that is left to achieve is the fight, the winner between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. Now, people are talking about Joseph Parker right now being a legitimate challenge for him. Joseph Parker would be a legitimate challenge, but doesn't bring any real accolades or any type of legacy to Daniel Dubois right now. But I mean, I would never consider that a tune-up fight. Do you think he should take a tune-up fight, quote unquote, rather than fighting a Joseph Parker if the champions aren't available, or does he just keep moving forward and keep fighting the best competition that's out there for him?
I think he's fighting somebody. I heard you guys talking about this yesterday. You and Stormy B Blue on the channel, and I think what you said about AJ Caballero, I think that'd be a good step up fight for him. It doesn't have to be something to get out the way. Even if you can convince them to say that's a title defense, and as a mandatory or some sort because he's ranked in the IBF, and then go find somebody like you said, go find somebody to keep you busy in between this and the next fight with someone such as um, Usyk and Tyson Fury. Because I heard you say, and it makes a lot of sense. I know Stormy B didn't agree with you too much, but AJ can actually get herself right back in the picture and get this fight with one of them, with the winner of that fight. He can slow everything down. He can put himself right back in the mix himself because he's a big name. He's the star over there. So the stars do sometimes pull the bag, and they'll like to see these guys fight. Martin Bacoli would not be a fight I'd be interested in. That's too high risk for the reward at the point. But a nice fight I was thinking of is one of your favorite guys and up and coming would be Frank Sanchez. I think that'd be a good fight to put him on, and it also proves the heart of is the top ranked half heavyweights. Are the heavyweights sitting there just taking easy fights, or are they able to get in a fight with some of these contenders from overseas and make the big fight happen? That would be a nice fight to have and a nice way to look at it. As far as anyone else, we got Mike Perez, we got Fabio Wardley. Any of those fights will work. I believe you even said Lanier Peril, another fight that they could just put on just to get waste some time and just have him take it, like I said, take a fight just on the back end so he can get prepared for a big fight. Yes, makes all the sense in the world, Clay.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with what 2 Cents is saying here. I thought it was a good statement here. He said double-edged sword. He could stay sharp or rest up. Tune up could get you tuned up. And I think that's really significant for the heavyweight division, right? The heavyweight division, everybody's punching up there. That's why I said, like, what kind of tune-up? What does a tune-up look like in heavyweight division? You know what I mean? For a champion like Daniel Dubois, I mean, is a tune-up Ajit Kabayel? Is a tune-up Martin Bacoli? Is a tune-up Zhele Zhang? Is a tune-up like you said, Frank Sanchez? Is a tune-up Joseph Parker? You know what I mean? Or is a tune-up a rematch with Anthony Joshua? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's all danger up there. I think if you're gonna get into a fight and you're a champion up there, shout out to what Echo said up in here as well. Let me see if I can find what he said here. He said all the real greats challenge themselves. And I think when you're in the heavyweight division, the word tune-up is you got to take it. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. It doesn't really exist. Exactly. And at the end of the day, if you're going to challenge yourself, if you're going to put yourself in danger, then do it for legacy. Do it for the accolades. Do it for the money, of course, as well. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I think he should just keep his foot on the gas. And I think if Joseph Parker's the next on the list, take Joseph Parker as long as there's no Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury fight on the table. But if one of those guys are available, chase undisputed, man. Chase greatness. It's, time waits for no man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, welcome to Orlando to the chat. We see you already in litigation right now.
Oh, yeah. Orlando. Shout out to Orlando. Shout out. You know what I mean?
Letting it happen. Thomas Hill got his work cut out for him today, huh? Go ahead, Thomas. You've been on the defense like crazy, man. I see you.
Yeah, he's making sure Tank's integrity stays intact. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna let it slide. He's not gonna let it slide today. Echo said the best thing about Turkey is he makes good matchups, no clear winners either. Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this yesterday a little bit too, as far as like what's happening with fighters in the U.S. kind of digressing as far as in pedigree. You know what I'm saying? There's the style of matchmaking today is built around a lot of money being made and also protecting fighters' undefeated records, right? They like fighters to go into fights with their O's because it makes a fan base kind of be like, oh man, we got this undefeated fighter. But when you look at fights like what happened with Raymond Ford in Riyadh, and when you looked at what happened with Jared Anderson, it just kind of like exposes and puts it out there that the best aren't fighting the best over here, and ultimately the side effect of that is they're not getting good because fighters develop a lot. Fighters develop a lot based on the matchmaking that they're putting, right? They fix what needs to be fixed based on what's exposed in certain fights. I always said I thought that benefit Terrence Crawford, that he always chased to fight the best and always try to get those belts because he always ended up with complicated interesting stylistic fights that he had to kind of like get over and figure out how to deal with it. Whereas, I'm not throwing shots at Errol Spence at all, but just saying that, the fights were kind of convenient for him, that he was able to make it all the way through to an opportunity to become undisputed, and never really had to change up who he was. You know what I'm saying? Was able to do that with who he was. So, matchmaking makes a big difference, man, in what these fighters are able to do. And I think you're going to get to that point where some fighters are going to look at the money Turkey's offering, but also going to realize, like, man, bro, I don't want to lose. You got to be ready to lose sometimes, man, to win. You got to be ready to lose to win. You know what I mean?
Right.
Let's see here. Is there anything interesting in the chat? I didn't know the fake Roscott fake pro black boxing fans in this chat would be so emotional. Hey, Roscott. Yeah, man, they don't like us. We're at that time of the day where we're getting more of a mixture of fans, and you're gonna see when it comes to that Tank Davis conversation, it probably is gonna get sensitive for a lot of people. But look, man, hopefully we can break through that mold and bring people into the dark side. You know what I'm saying? Of just talking boxing across the board and talk about everything and understanding that nothing's personal, but everything is boxing. We're talking about it. Carl Brown said, AKA C Breezy says, do Shakur fight the same level fighters that Keyshawn's supposed to be fighting? But they put Shakur so much above Keyshawn. I never got that.
Oh, absolutely. He's fought in much better talent than and champions. I mean, the guy's a 3-division champion. You know what I mean? He's a unified champion at 130. What do you mean? That's that's not a bad question, but to the point that you're asking this and people seen it. I mean, Jamel Herring was a threat. He made easy work of this guy. So yes, he's went out there and put himself through the wrenches of the fire, wrench of the fire, and walk through it, man. I mean, at the end of the day, Carl, man, you have some great questions, but I think your intent, or sometimes, I don't know if like their intention, no, but I think your intent is to get the answers you're seeking, to see if we get pushback in the sense of, Shakur is a bad fighter, or he didn't fight this or didn't fight that. I'm not one of those guys that go through people's resumes so much unless it's brought to my attention and that's the battle they want to pursue. I try to stay away from that, but his resume is a lot better than Keyshawn's at this moment.
Yeah, man. That's part of the game. Tonight I think there's a fight between
Pro Box.
Pro Box between. Is it Pro Box tonight?
We so.
No, it's Thursday night. I don't think it's Pro Box.
Oh, it's Thursday? Jeez, I'm still a day behind. You remember I work overnight, Clay. Yesterday I thought it was Tuesday. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah, I think it's a top rank situation, maybe an ESPN situation with Ozley Iglesias, where everybody's comparing him to David Morrell fighting Petro Ivanov. It's a 168 fight. So
yeah. It's ESPN. Yep.
Right.
I got it right here. Yep, November 7th. Petro Ivanov versus Ozley Iglesias. Absolutely, Montreal.
Yeah. Let me see. Yes, Shakur fight Keyshawn. Why isn't that being talked about? And why aren't you talking? Is this for me, Bubs? Yes, Shakur should fight Keyshawn. Why isn't that being talked about? And why aren't you talking about Andy Cruz? How he beat Keyshawn. Keyshawn need to fight Andy next.
It's irrelevant. I'll tap in first. That's irrelevant. What happens in the amateurs doesn't always transcend. There have been a few moments where it has moved into the pro ranks in these situations that happen. Andy Cruz is right now still at the prospect status. He's actually fast pacing himself for a title shot. If Keyshawn gets a belt, guess who's going to be knocking on that door? You'll get the Andy Cruz fight, most likely, if they can do so. As far as Shakur and Keyshawn, they said they will fight each other if the time is right. Again, if Keyshawn gets a belt,
Keyshawn said he's not fighting him. He said they're not fighting.
I think if they get a belt and that comes across the table and the money's right, I think they will. If Keyshawn doesn't want to fight him, then that's what they don't want to do, and it is what it is. I'm not going to argue that point. But hey, put yourself in a position to do something, and things that happen. It's not on us to make those decisions. We can't answer those questions. That's something that you have to answer for the team. But I appreciate the question, Clay. You can tap in.
Yeah. No. I mean, as far as why we're not talking about that, because they're not happening. I think Ray hit it on the nail. We don't talk about stuff necessarily that's not going to happen. I respect fighters when they say they're not going to fight. Like as soon as Keyshawn said he's not fighting Shakur, I stopped looking for the fight. As soon as Terrence Crawford said he's not fighting Boots Ennis, I stopped looking for the fight. To be honest with you, as soon as Canelo Alvarez said he wasn't going to fight Terrence Crawford, I stopped looking for the fight. You know what I'm saying? I support Terrence Crawford as far as a fight happening. I'm like, yo, man, I hope you're able to convince that man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to sit here and talk about it. You're not going to see me, and I'm a Terrence Crawford fan. That's if I'm a fan of anybody, I would say I'm a Bud fan. I'm not going to sit here and continue to push this damn Terrence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez narrative when Canelo Alvarez seems to be not interested in making a fight happen. So it's the same thing with Keyshawn Davis and Andy Cruz, or I mean Keyshawn Davis and Andy Cruz. I don't think they're necessarily saying they don't want to fight, but it does look like they're waiting for the right time, and rightfully so. If you're gonna make Keyshawn Davis is on the verge of becoming a champion, guys. That's the number one priority. That's where the focus is supposed to be. If I'm managing Keyshawn Davis, you know, or involved in Keyshawn Davis's career in any way, I'm gonna say F Andy Cruz right now. He's in a prospect level status in this boxing space right now, even though for all argument's sake, he's a decorated amateur fighter who has a lot of pro or contender attributes, but he's not. He's still in a prospect kind of category. You'd be going backwards to fight Andy Cruz, and not to mention fight him going backwards would also have nothing to gain from it. Beating Andy Cruz, I'm telling you guys, and I said it yesterday on Blue Blood, because they were talking about Terrence Crawford potentially either retiring or fighting Canelo Alvarez. And I said it, listen, the boxing fans of this era don't garner respect from the boxers. The boxers don't do nothing for you guys. They don't, or us. We're all fans, right? They don't, because the fans are such, they're unfair with their judgment. They don't respect accolades. They don't respect legacy. They don't respect championships. They don't respect these things. So these fighters are no longer taking into consideration what the boxing space is concerned about. They're no longer trying to impress people who are not impressed by what boxing was built on, but more so impressed by popularity and all types of nonsense. You know, what people call the Jake Paul era of boxing, right? Where it's not about what you've accomplished. It's about how much shit you can talk, how much attention you can garner, and basically pumping up your market value and how much money you make. That's what makes you, you know, a quote unquote great in boxing nowadays in comparison to somebody like a Shakur Stevenson or a Terrence Crawford, or even a Devin Haney, people who are out there chasing down belts and accomplishing things by becoming champions and beating champions, obviously, to become champions. They're not getting that recognition. So now it's money driven. It's all about the perfect timing. So bringing it full circle back to Keyshawn Davis fighting Andy Cruz, that fight has to have some money involved in it. It has to have some legacy involved in it. Andy Cruz has to get himself up in the ranks and maybe get a belt, or at least get himself up in a position where he can become mandatory to a belt to a Keyshawn Davis to make that fight make sense. Without all those things kind of lining up and falling into place, what sense does it make for Keyshawn Davis to fall back and fight Andy Cruz? They're in two separate conversations right now. And that being said, I'm not going to sit here and keep on pushing for a fight that doesn't even make sense for these fighters to get involved in right now. You know what I mean? Take that for whatever it's worth. You know what I mean? But I hope Key does a rhyme, pushes away. Let me see here. Scope. Let me see. Pugilist said something. I hope I hit. Let me see. Scope turned up tomorrow. Silver Bullet Davis, the businessman, Shark City 757, haven't been turned up since Larry Holmes. To be honest, heavyweight versus Butterbean 2003 high. Yeah, no doubt. Yo, tomorrow night's going to be a great night of fighting, man. It's going to be a great night of fighting. There's a lot of matches on that undercard as well. I mean, it's going to be a great night of fights. I hear Bob Arum talking about he thinks Keyshawn Davis could be the next face of boxing. Whoa. You know what I'm saying? I know people are going to take that with a grain of salt. I'm like, of course he's going to say that. But look, man, Keyshawn Davis is checking a lot of boxes. And based on his performance tomorrow night, it could be a big, huge night for Keyshawn Davis, brother. It could be a big, huge night for him.
It's incredible. What's incredible about that fight tomorrow is if Limo's the smaller fighter, but the smaller in stature, but probably the larger fighter because he's the heavier fighter. And very good experience, gets in there and does some damage on the inside, or able to get good shots in on Keyshawn. We may see that tank fight, guys. We might see something. You know, this is all things that we have to see come to play. Some people look at what the weaknesses are in certain situations, in certain type of fights. You're only as good as your last fight in most cases, and we all recognize that, even though we don't say it because we don't believe that exists. But yet we always question the last time that fighters fought. We question the Lemos versus Hitchens fight all the time. Like, is Hitchens really that guy? You know what I mean? So we just watched Lemos put a beating on him. We watched Teal fight. We watched Teal just went 3 in a row after the Josh Taylor fight, looking like he's normal. So, or 2 in a row. I'm sorry, 2 in a row and 1 before. At seeing if he's normal. The guy's even questioning himself, is he still got it? So we see these things happen more often than not. And sometimes people want to step up to the plate once they see someone's vulnerabilities. For instance, a lot of people said that happened with Devin and Regis. They've seen some lacking in the Regis fight, and Devin jumped into the plate, right, to the fire over there and took that fight with Regis. We have to just look at whatever's going on in the ring, outside the ring, and we have to also question the fact that is the fights capable of being made, and when they're able to be made, are we going to get the fights when they produce themselves, or are we going to sit back and kick and try to wait for the money to get right? These things have been coming about very seldomly. People have been chasing the money over the legacy, and that bag is going to run up being short sometimes. So you're going to have to put yourself in position to not have to get the big fights. I'd rather have the big fights than the money, because the money's going to always be there. It's going to come. It's going to show up. So get yourself in position to put some quality wins on your belt, regardless of who the fighter is, and start making those accolades look better. Because at the end of the day, that's when people are going to pressure you and try to pursue those big fights to happen.
Yeah, 100%, man. I agree with you 100%. Hold on a second. I'm trying to pull it up here because people are. I saw Carl Brown talking about Gustavo Lemos and his legitimacy at 135. Gustavo Lemos is a 135-pound fighter. Carl, he went up to fight Richard Hitchens. He actually fights. He fought one fight before that with Javier Jose Clavero at 140. But and then he also fought. He actually fought a couple of 140 fights.
Yeah, he's been up and down. He fought both divisions.
It looks like majority. It looks like the majority of his fights has been at 135. He even had a fight at like 130 before. But he's fought. Yeah, but he's not a weight drain fighter. He's not a fighter that's been pulled down from 140 to fight Keyshawn Davis at 135. And when you look at them on the face-off, if you pay attention,
he's not sunken in.
He's bigger than Gustavo Lemos. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be a real test for Keyshawn Davis. If you follow Gustavo Lemos and you pay attention to him, you'll know that, the man is 29 wins, 19 knockouts, only has one loss, and the loss is arguably not a loss. A lot of people feel like he won that fight against Richard Hitchens. I believe my co-host is one of those people who feel that way about that fight. So, this is a big challenge, a huge challenge for Keyshawn Davis. Not a small challenge in any definition of the word. Let's see. Bub says, but excuses for every other fight, excuse after excuse. LOL, two separate conversations. But Keyshawn is in the same conversation with Tank when they both got fights coming up. That's not realistic. That's
a good point,
man. It is to a point, to a degree, but it's not, because it's not about putting pressure on Tank to make the fight with Keyshawn. It's about Keyshawn and Tank interacting on social media and what that could mean as far as the future of a potential fight. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's why for me, that's where it's at. It's not about anything else. And
the reason why I say it's a good point is because this is when you hear the talks of fights. You hear them during the other fights that they have coming up, and they just happen to be circulating at the same time. You're going to have these situations occur, and when they do occur, we as fans have to be like, yo, listen, there's some buzz here. They're both amped up. They're both in training. Their adrenaline's pumping. You know what I mean? The testosterone's moving. So guess what? You're getting what you call real live man from the woods coming out from the other man coming from the damn jungle. And it's going to happen. They're going to meet. And the reason why I say that is because everything's flowing. All them juices, is flowing right now. And that energy is there. And that's what's going to make these things occur. If we sit there and just be like, oh, well, he's popping off, he's got to fight ready, then it doesn't mean anything, because guess what? They go into these dormant stages or these hibernations when they're just in training and they're waiting for fights to cross their plate, and we don't hear nothing from these fighters. So when we hear is due when the situations when they have fights coming on, and that's when we most of the time hear about different fights and different fights coming together. So it's like I said, it's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up, because that allows me to answer that question that way.
No doubt, man. Salute to 2 Cents that Hitchinson used his height and reach to steal that fight. That's a big obstacle for Lemos against Keyshawn. Yeah, Keyshawn's a bigger dude. Keyshawn's the bigger dude for sure. Let me see. C Cool said, Claymore, Rain, what's good with you and your family, man? Me and my family doing great. I appreciate you asking, my brother. Bub Boxing said, okay, Claymore, you got some of my respect. You don't duck me like others. I'll support you now, but we will agree to disagree. No doubt, Bub. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. To build someone else up who don't even know us. Okay, Ross Scott and Thomas Hill going at it, bro. they're going at it. I was going to open up the panel, but I'm kind of
I
scared.
was going to ask you to.
Right.
I think we should. But we need to keep it cool, cordial, and respectful. We ain't doing all that battle rap, bro. Like, it's crazy. But for sure, we should open it up. So let these guys have their conversations. We can moderate it a little bit or push back on any side that we see fit if you want. That's cool.
All right. I just put up the link up there. Shout out to, we got another super chat in the building. Fawn Santiago, my
What's
guy.
up, Fonz? Looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah. Looking forward to that fight tomorrow. I won't be able to make it in person like I wanted to, but I'll be watching 100%, man. We all gonna be watching, man. I was thinking about doing a live for it. I was thinking about doing a live for it, but I don't know yet, because I'll be honest with you, when it comes to those lives, I'll be really liking the experience of watching the fight, and me having to constantly be up on this mic, it does kind of get in the way of my experience. You know what I mean? That I'm looking at.
It's all right, Clay. It's cool. I'm just laughing because I'm taking that OT tomorrow. You know me.
Exactly, right. You know what I mean? I don't know. I might come on and do like a little post show situation, or maybe I might do something during the middle of the fight as well. Oh damn, we got people up here right now.
Yeah, boy, let him in. That's rock.
Keyshawn.
Yeah. Shout
salute.
Blaze, pound for pound. How you doing, family?
I'm doing.
Oh, good. He said I'm doing all right. It sounds like you got your game face on, brother. So I'm gonna be right. Okay. It sounds like your game face is on, and you got the suit and tie up in here. I'm expecting some problems. All right,
I stand on business.
No doubt. No doubt. I hear it, brother. I hear it. And then I'm bringing on some love from the Blue Blood platform. Somebody I'm always getting into it with. With this guy right here.
Clay,
one of my favorite guys to talk to.
You know I love you, bro. Cause like you know, I don't just say just weird stuff like, and you know where I was coming from when I was writing in the chat. Like, bro, I really got like real love for you, bro. Like, bro, I consider you a friend of mine. I'm a homebody.
I know it's gonna be. I know it's gonna be coming from a good place, but I know it's gonna be problems. I'm telling you, I already know it's gonna be problems. But we go.
Because I'm always thinking. You know, I'm always thinking like, because it's not just with me. It never be like just a what if. It's all about like, I come off like I'm taking up a Tank, but you know where I'm coming from because I'm seeing push on Tank. But I'm like, if we gonna talk boxing, let's talk boxing about everybody. All I'm saying is that if we want to see Tank fight these guys, I want to see Tank. Come on, like we all boxing fans, Clay. I want to see. I really believe Tank can do it, and I really think ain't nobody at 35 going to beat Tank. I just think 140. That's where the challenge is going to come, and that's just my opinion. I could be 100% wrong, but I just want to see Shakur and them because we is putting them up there, and I do see. I don't want to say greatness in Shakur, but I do see that he up there. But when I say I think Shakur fight more flat-footed than people would say, because everybody do see the hands and stuff. But if anybody a real boxer fan, they'll say Shakur don't let his hands go unless you standing there with him, and that's with anybody. And that's not taking away nothing from Shakur. You seen Terrence Crawford telling Shakur to swing instead of just backing up to that rope. You saw him swing in between. That's telling me he was getting to it by Terrence Crawford when I looked at the video. So I'm like, why are he showing this? But everybody act like I was just saying something crazy. I wasn't saying nothing crazy, Clay. I'm just looking at it. We want to see fights. We in boxing. Like I was little. I remember being a little boy had to sit on the floor, and while they ordering boxing, Mike Tyson to fight over, I made sure I didn't leave the TV screen. That's how much I came to a cuss that Mike Tyson might get this over with real fast.
Yeah.
Roy Jones,
Carl. What's up, my brother? I'm gonna give you a little pushback. I want to move on to bringing people in.
Wait.
I want people to
because it's gonna open up. Just give it a second. Hold on, because it's
gonna open up. Carl, you on my list.
I want to address everybody on the panel. So I heard what you said, Carl. I'm not even going to speak to it right now. I want to give everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to give everybody on the panel an opportunity to kind of speak it before we even get into a conversation as a group of people on the panel, not just between us and Carl. So, shout out to Blaze Pound for Pound. How you feeling, brother? What's on your mind?
Oh, peace, champ. I'm just hearing y'all in the morning popping it about this boxing.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody got their opinion. The fact of the matter is everybody chomping at their bit. We just want to see great fights. That's all. you
Yeah.
know. And it's just like, Tank undeniably he the best at 135. So naturally what we want to see is, okay, where's it at 140? That's it.
Ooh.
We was waiting for Shakur. Shakur got injured. That's it. It ain't there. Ain't nobody thinking about Lamar Roach. He's coming up for 130. He couldn't have been on the list. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, he's trying to put a fight together. I believe he's just trying to put the best fight together with some decent competition until he can set up a real fight. I don't think Tank's dodging nobody. There's nobody around. Listen, man, he had Loma. Loma ducked him. That's the fight. That's the Great White Hope. That's the one that made the biggest money, made the most sense. Like that's the whole thing where cats is missing. They don't understand business. I really wear that suit and look at contracts. I really understand supply and demand. You feel me? So it's like, it's like, when we really talking it, right? We gotta look at his moves. Tank was down, Tank went to jail. Tank was off for hella. He come back and he fight an undefeated, high caliber, high ranked fighter and put him away and body him in spectacular fashion. That tape is a work of art. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, that'd be the thing. It'd be like, people talk about Tank and Tank all they want, but it's like, man, Tank been putting people out in spectacular fashion in the highest level competition. And he beat one of the four kings if you was count Ryan back then. So it's like, what are we talking about? Like for real, what are we talking about when we talking about Tank? Like that, It don't make sense to me. You guys are just haters, bro. And it's straight up, and it's just like it be the eyeball test too. It's like, bro, look how Tank puts him away. It's surgical. So we can complain about him not fighting nobody, but look at how the landscape changed. Haney went to 140. Shakur got injured. Loma ducked. You feel me? What are we talking about? He tried to get Rayo. Rayo only talking about he ain't fighting. He got the belt over there. What are we talking about? We waiting on Tio now. What's up with Tio? You feel me? That's about it. That's about the only name we can even say if we talking about real names and fights and high competition and dogs in the race at 135 and 140. So it don't be making no sense to me when they be talking like that.
And I think Tio's the hardest.
Wait, hold on, Carl.
Hold on.
I gotta get everybody in, man. Shout out to Blaze Pound for Pound, man. Yeah, I hear you, brother, and I got thoughts on what you said, but I also want to get to everybody else, and then we'll actually come together and start speaking a little bit more with each other. Shout out to one of my OGs in the building from across the pond, an historian in his own right, man, a scholar in this game, always enlightening me and stepping up the boxing knowledge with him. My brother Echo. What's good, Echo? What's going on over there? What time is it over there where you at? First of all, what time is it?
Oh man, here 6 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Just gone 5.
5 p.m. Right? 5 p.m. or 5 a.m.
10 past 5.
Yeah,
in the morning or in the evening?
In the evening.
Okay.
This is good for me.
Yeah, no, perfect time. And usually I got Echo staying up way in the middle of the night and past his bedtime. So I'm happy I'm able to catch you at a regular time during the day with that time exchange. But what's on your mind? What's going on with this boxing talk today?
I'm just listening to the chat, and was it Blaze that was just talking? I agree with some of the things he's saying. I don't think Tank's ducking anybody. I just think there's been, there's lots of politics in boxing that can stop fights. But I do believe that his biggest challenge will be Shakur, for sure, if Shakur is fit.
Right. I agree.
And I really believe that Shakur can beat him.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. When you're talking about somebody who boxes on a high level, they always have a chance in the ring. You can't never sleep on somebody who really knows how to box, control distance, super defensively responsible, and not affected by what's going on outside of the ring as far as like fans' beliefs on what he should be doing, how much more exciting of a fighter he should be, how much more chances he should take. When you got somebody who's certified in their identity and secure inside their identity, you got a real challenge in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think that and I'm gonna bring a topic onto the table for everybody to tap into, because I know it's easy for everybody to kind of like talk about Tank Davis and everything like that. One thing Pound for Pound said, and I want everybody's opinion on the panel. One thing that Blaze said, I don't know if you rather Blaze or pound for pound. I'll just go with Blaze. One thing that Blaze said that I thought was real interesting was
You right, Quinn?
he said that what happened?
You said Blaze and then you cut
Yeah,
off.
I'm here. Blaze or pound for
No,
pound. I'm
no,
Oh,
he
you
here.
was
heard
saying
me.
he was saying something, but he had stopped. He recycled a little bit. I didn't hear the conversation.
Oh, maybe the
Question.
connection went bad for half a second. But what Blaze said, which I thought was real significant, which is going to be on which I want to bring up on the panel right now, because there's been a lot of pushback at the idea of what he just said, as far as Tank's biggest accomplishments and biggest challenges are in front of him at 140 pounds. He feels like that's where the real challenges are. And it sounded like, I don't want to speak for Blaze, but it did sound like he was looking forward to see Tank at 140 pounds challenging himself. What does the panel think about Tank potentially? Because I don't know if you guys paid attention to the Cigar Talk interview with Floyd Schofield Sr. and Jr., but Sr. kind of referred to the idea that he was being told that there was plans on Tank potentially leaving that WBA lightweight title down there at 135 and potentially challenging himself up at 140 and making some big fights at 140. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's, and I don't want to be long-winded about it, but just to say that a lot of people feel like we are haters of Tank because they say that we're trying to push Tank into a 140-pound weight class division where he has no advantages and he's a small guy and we just want to see him lose. But Blaze sounds like somebody who supports Tank movement, and he sounds like he thinks that Tank's going to do great things at 140 and he wants to see him up there. What does the panel think about that? We can actually start off with Blaze, the guy who actually said it, to see what he thinks.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. My whole thing is this. It's like, it's not fact where I know what I know. It's just speculation, right? So,
Right.
I'm just going to declare my bias right now about who I think Tank is, how great of a fighter I think he is, in my opinion. And my thing is he fought at 140 before. I don't think he's running from 140. It's 135, 140. I don't think he goes no further than that. He's 5'4". You feel me? He puts himself at this physical, length disadvantage with the strength that he has as a fighter, right? And he stays in tip-top physical shape when he comes in at 135. You feel me? But I do believe that, listen, he's trying to get the bag and he thinks he's better than all these guys. So he ain't running from nobody at 140. He's in his prime. He's 30 years old. Who is he going to be like, oh, I don't want to take that fight. It's too risky. He's past that. He's in his prime right now. So anything at 135, 140, it's going to be right up his alley. He got to make sure the business is straight, though, because he got to protect the bag. He's the closest thing to, to Money Mayweather. And that era is gone because of streaming and all that. The money's not there no more. So we're looking at it all wrong. We're trying to count the money on an old metric. We don't know how they're making money in this business no more. We stream, bro. I buy the fights, bro. I buy the fights, but what's crazy about it is because they be acting funny about having it on multiple devices, I buy the fight, put it on an 86-inch, and then I be streaming it on like my tablet or something when I'm moving around. So it's like, bro, it's killing the game. You feel me? As far as the money for him. And so that's my whole thing. So my main point is this. I believe Tank is going to try to make the best fight against the best competition at 135 or 140, because that's where he's at. And with that said, I'm complete.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I just want one more piece of information from you, Blaze. Do you think it's diabolical and messed up for fighters to ask? Because Showbiz, shout out to Showbiz, by the way. That Showbiz did put out there that he was interested in seeing Tank go up to 140. And it did look like the boxing space, as far as the Tank supporters, really took, they took indifference to that approach. They felt like it was unfair of Showbiz to ask Tank to do that. What do you think about fans pushing to see Tank fight at 140? Do you think it's a setup for failure, or do you think it's okay and it's fair to ask a face of boxing or somebody, because you speak highly of Tank, and I match the same energy you have as far as thinking how much he can do. I think he can do a lot. What do you think about people pushing to see him fight at 140?
Okay, yeah, and when I say this, I got something for Rasclot. It's in the chat if he's still there. As a
Don't get him started,
foundational,
bro. That's my brother.
nah, I'm gonna keep it light, bro. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you, better go back and watch what he said. You need to watch his mouth right now. But as a foundational Black American, Black man, young Black man, young star from Baltimore, from the bottom, greatest in his division, arguably the greatest right now in his time, right? My thing is you gotta watch and let a man control his destiny. See all these fans of peanut galleries, they don't be in the gym. They didn't survive what he survived. They didn't grind like he grind. They're not built with his team. You feel me? What are we talking about? He put away Ryan. He put away the highest competition so far, and we want to see him fight the next best competition. So the thing is in this microwave era, like bro said, he used to sit in front of the TV. When we was young, we didn't know. There wasn't no social media. The adults used to tell us, hey, there's about to be a fight. We sit down. We don't comment all in between it. We don't
Right.
care. There ain't no opinion between fights. Every day we talking about boxing because we got the platform now and we love it. And we'll play undisputed in fantasy fighting. You feel me? And for those of us who got jobs and shit, to get our ass kicked by the kids who play that shit for hours. You feel me?
Right.
But we love the sport. We love boxing. You feel me? And so it's like when you look at it like this, it's like it's not about what the fans want. It's about respecting this man who done already gave us, who done put his life on the line in that ring, who done performed this spectacular passion, and let that man cook. Let that foundational Black American man controlling his money, getting his money now, not getting robbed like our greats back in the day is. Let that man figure it out. Let that man figure out that venue. We don't see them contracts. We don't know what's going on, but we know there's big bag when that young brother get up in the ring and put it down. So that'd be my thing. It'd be like the fans need to just respect it. There's so many other boxers and prospects out here. It's like we get caught up in these 1-2 things and we be complaining. It's like, hey man, go find the next one coming up. There's somebody boxing right now. There's a prospect that's gonna be the one day. If you're an average boxing fan, you're gonna find him. You're gonna see it. You're gonna be the one 5, 6 years before he become a star. Like I was watching him, I was tracking him live. I was seeing his box record. I was watching whatever social media he had, and he's the guy, and he's my guy. You're gonna be winning big money because everybody ain't gonna know who he is when you know who he is when he put it on the line. You see what I'm saying? That's just what I'm about. So it'd be like, that's the thing. Fans need to chill, man. Everybody got these opinions. And it's like everybody's thought bubble comes and manifests in these chats. And it's like, it's cool to have a thought, but you put that shit out there in the world, it just be some bullshit. It's a bunch of bullshit ass, random ass, lazy ass thoughts. When it's like, it's okay to brainstorm and all that. But it's like, hey man, when we really talking and standing on what we really think and what our opinion is, just man, at the end of the day, kick back and let this man be great. And let all these other fighters be great as well. And the last thing I want to say is this. Shakur,
wait, don't forget to answer the question, though. What do you think about people pushing him to be 140, though?
My thing is, ain't no push. That's what I'm trying to tell you, though. It ain't no push. Watch this man work. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, hey, man, they can push. He been at 140. He just called out Ray up. You feel me? It's like, man, watch this man do what he's doing. It's like, my thing is, what you going to push him for? He's in position. He's in a position of power that those of us who relate to him that come from where he come from, strive to get there in this oppressive ass system, in this oppressive ass historical context that we done been in. So it'd be like the fans want him to be at 140. He don't care about the fans outside of putting on a spectacular performance. No, he do though. He do because he care about a cat like me.
He don't care about
giving see him be great when he get up in there. But I'm not. He don't care about us trying to dictate his contracts, dictate who he fight, dictate what weight he's at, dictate rehydration clauses. You feel me? That man's standing on business. Like when I got a suit, you can't tell me nothing. Anybody in this chat ain't gonna dictate how I handle my business. I don't care what the fuck you talking about. You feel me? You ain't gonna feed my kids. You ain't gonna pay my mortgage. You feel me? You ain't gonna build generational wealth for me. So I respect your opinion, and then I'm gonna be like, if I don't agree with it,
I'm gonna do me.
Trying to push it on me. I'm gonna tell you, hey man, get the fuck away from me. I'm gonna mute you.
Right.
I'm complete.
Okay. All right, no doubt, Blaze. Go. I guess Ray, man. Ray, go ahead, man. On the question is at the end of the day,
yes.
As far as the push on the fan, obviously what it comes down to is the boxing space pushing on Tank to do great things, right? To make the biggest fights, and if it ends up being, what's that?
I have no idea.
Because he put the finger up, so I'm just go ahead and mute him and assume it's him.
All right, yeah. So I want to tap. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just saying, pushing on him to do great things, and if those great things are in 140, pushing for him to do those things at 140, like Showbiz did. What do you think about the fans doing that? Are they out of pocket for doing that? Is that what they're supposed to do?
No.
And as fans, also just to add to it, what are we supposed to be doing? Because it seems like Blaze said that we're supposed to just support the fighters, doing what they're doing, achieving their greatness. Sit back, watch what we say, and be more patient, watching the fighters put these situations together.
This ain't the days of Mike Tyson. Unfortunately, we're not just watching people just run up into the ring and whoever Mike fights. If it's a big fight, we're all for it. we're actually at a point in time where we do have social media. We do have a say in some of these spaces to some of these fighters. We have to be respectful of that, and we have to respect the fighters. You're right on that point and what they accomplish and what their goals and dreams are. But at the same time, as fans that pay that dollar or that come to those venues that want to see the fights that we want to see, we have a right to ask for the big fights. We have a right to want to see who goes against who can be where. If we want to see it, you know what I mean, and throw it out there, see what happens. A great point is that I would like to make is that you said that him moving to 140 it'd be a great challenge. I totally agree with that. I think it brings Superman back down to earth. It's very possible that there'll be some challenges there and something could happen, or he can show us that look, man, I could fight at 147 and knock somebody out there too. We know the guy can stop a charging horse, so we're not going to disrespect him on that note. But we do know this. We do know that Tank Davis has fights at 135, which I disagree with you on that point. And at 135, there's a lot of fighters that he can fight that can be a problem potentially for him. We want to see him fight the best of all these fighters. And that's as a fan, as a boxing fan. This is not as a Tank fan or a Shakur fan or a Devin fan. Also, there have been many challenges pushed to Tank, and Tank has not accepted these challenges, though he said he will. And this is out of his own mouth, out of his team's mouths, and things of that nature. As far as showbiz, and the question with showbiz, Clay, I do think Tank could make a run at 140, but he already admitted that 140 was tough. We had Leonard Ellerbe double down on that a year ago, saying that Tank is not a 140-pound fighter. He doesn't want to fight at 140. We should leave him where he is at 135, 130. And then on that note, if he's the best at 135, why the hell is he pulling up Lamont Roach? Why the hell is he pulling up Hector Garcia, Luis Garcia from 130? If he's the best, go fight those other best fighters to prove that you're the best. I'm not saying he's not. I think Tank is capable of stopping everybody at 135. So I do agree with you there. But this is me as a fan speaking. When it comes back to that 140 round and him being grounded there, I think that's where the test comes in. I think when Leonard Ellerbe said that he could fight in a hypocritical fashion, saying that he could fight El Rayo, bring him down from 140. I'm like, why not go up to 140? If you're so capable of beating this guy, you just beat Pitbull who moved up. There are plenty of people. Shout out Frequent. There are plenty of people there that Tank has an option of fighting. There's plenty of people there that Tank can fight at 140. I think that will be a challenge. But we want to see Tank all together as a whole make big fights. Give us the fight that we've been wanting to see for a long time. Yes, it's about the bag, but I think he got his bag. If he's going to travel for the bag, then like I said, get out of professional boxing and go do celebrity boxing. I think he'll make a lot more money there. If he's going to just sit there, he wants to be a champion. He wants to prove that he's the best. Go get those other belts. And to your other question about the other fighters, and why the other fighters weren't fighting. Asking for money for Tank and making it harder for Tank is because they all have belts now. Ryle has a champ. He's a champion too. He believes, hey, if I'm a champion, I get to say something. I know I'm not the A side, but I have some privileges. Shakur has a belt. All these guys have belts. So when you have a champion, I don't need your belt. We need them for unification, but we don't need you. We have our own belts. We can go on our own legacy.
Okay,
so
Ray.
it's all in good plans, but I'm gonna let it move on from there. But
all right, no doubt, Ray. I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna first of all salute. Is that Spot, JR Spot?
Yeah, that's me, man.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see you say John from Colorado, but I know your face. But I'm just making. Last time I mistaken you for somebody else, I got chewed out. Last time with you remember with
Lance
whatever it is.
Yeah,
I was like, yo,
Lance.
I was like, JR. He's like, nah, bro.
Yeah,
I'm like,
he said
bro.
yes. He said yes at first.
Yeah, he did. He kind of went with it, and then JR actually came up in the chat. Was like, yo, that ain't me, bro. I don't know who that is. I'm like, that's crazy. But salute to you, family. Hey, I'm gonna I'm just say what's up to you, but I'm gonna let Carl build right quick, and then I'm gonna bring you right in. Go ahead, Carl. How you feel? Well, let me re-ask the question. And guys, I also want us to recognize that. Wait, hold on. I want us to all realize that we're all on the panel. There's a lot of us here, and I don't want these long-winded answers because I want to get to Echo. Right. I want to get to John here, and ultimately I'm gonna be bringing up Blaze back up here. He's in the back room. I see you, Blaze. I'm just putting this out there. I'm gonna work out something where I'm gonna get a timer for these panels, where I'm gonna put timers on there to let people kind of build inside of give you like 2 minutes. Minute and a half to kind of get it out because it's hard. We got to bring it full circle and let everybody get a chance to build on here. But I'm going to bring it over to Carl, man. Carl, the question is, at the end of the day, how do you feel about the fan base pushing on Tank Davis to make great fights? A, B, if those fights are at 140, is that asking too much of Tank to go in a weight class that he's A, for all respect, kind of like made statements saying that he has no plans of going up there and that he didn't like it because he touched it when he went up there with Mario Barrios, and you know what Leonard Ellaby said. But at the same time, Tank has made statements about how he has no problem beating up Ryan Garcia up there and beating up certain people he doesn't mind fighting at 140. Is the fan base out of pocket? Is the fan base, just like showbiz, people who love boxing, out of pocket for asking Tank Davis to make a move to 140?
Dang, Clay, you hit me across my head with what my opening statement was going to be, and it's a good one. And I'm gonna still repeat it. The fact that Tank won by knockout at 140, and he didn't wait till the media picked up on some, or he got an interview right there in the ring. We all heard him say he was not comfortable at 140. One thing that we cannot just overlook. Okay, Tank knocking people out. Tank showing us he got power at a smaller weight and he's a smaller man. But we can't take his power and make that to an accolade. He was born with that power. Like, we can't say, oh, just because he hit harder, he had to go up and up and up and for all that. We say he should just go fight Jerron Ennis. But anyway, my point of getting, if he said it right there in the ring that he wasn't comfortable at 140, I do see why everybody's saying go fight at 140, but I do see why Tank's saying, because we all know it's a 6-fight deal. I believe that even if the deal ain't real, I believe that he's giving us 6 more fights, or probably 7. But I think that's I think he just want to leave all his faculties, and he still want to be considered as the man. My thing is, with him saying that in the ring that he wasn't comfortable after getting a knockout win, people ain't got no choice but to respect that. Putting the fact that his height, he's 5'5". Only thing that can go off is his skills, because his punching power, because people are not even talking about how much Tank can box. Tank is a short arm fighter that can box and get in the inside, and he believes in his power, and with a good chin. I do believe that that's his ceiling, 140. But I don't think he's going to be campaigning there. You got to think about Tank moved up a couple of weight classes. Let's not forget Tank was.
All right, so I mean, I want to kind of get to the point a little bit to say that, are the fans out of pocket? Should they chill and allow this man to do what he feels like doing and stop pushing on Tank to do these things?
No, because he fought at 140 before.
Okay,
but
cool.
They ain't out of pocket. Straight like that. Right. They're not out of pocket for asking him to go up there. And he did make it clear that he wasn't comfortable after winning. Exactly. So we got to take that in. You know what I mean?
No doubt. Let me shout out to the super chat in the building. Hunter Young with the $5 holla. I appreciate you, Hunter. Tank started at 126 and then tested himself at 140. Now, when does his contemporary test 154 who started at 135? Yo, Hunter, I hear what you're saying, brother. I don't think people pushing Tank to maybe fight at 140 and challenge himself up there negates or takes anybody off of their responsibility to challenge themselves as well. They in their own right can go up and challenge themselves at the weight classes that hold the biggest competition for them, as long as they're, if they're done in their weight division, or they're not getting the fights they want. I think that's naturally what's supposed to happen. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think two things can coexist in the same space. I think Tank can challenge himself at 140, and the boxing space can ask him to do that. But in the same space, the boxing space can ask the Devin Haney's to challenge himself at 147 and 154, and all like you said, his contemporaries who started off at a 135-pound weight class division to challenge themselves up there in the bigger divisions. You know what I mean? I want to go ahead and move it over.
Keyshawn first weight class?
Yeah,
Keyshawn first weight class, right?
Yeah, at 140, right. At 135, sorry. That's
a big boy. That's a big boy.
Yeah, he said he's going to go 140, and he said he does himself at 147. So
I was waiting for somebody to try to play it off like they ain't hear that. I ain't going front, Clay. I was holding that in reserve. What you just said right there.
I'm on point, bro. I hear it all, bro. It's good for the goose. It's good for the gander up here at all times. Shout out to Echo in the building. Echo, once again, you know what I mean? Back at you again. We got a big panel. Then I'm going to bring in J.R. Spock in here. Are the fans out of pocket? Is it natural for them to push to see Tank Davis challenge himself not only at 135 to fight the best, but also, if need be, if it ends up putting him at 140, is a fan base out of pocket for pushing that Tank Davis to go to 140?
Well,
Now,
everything that Ray said earlier, I agree with.
Right.
And in the history of boxing, many boxers have gone up in weight, and it's not a height class; it's a weight class. You know, there's been boxers been 5'1", fought at 126. There was even somebody 4'9". It doesn't matter about the height, and many boxers of the past had to go up in weight, and there wasn't no junior weights; there were full weights. You know, Henry Armstrong did that. He went from featherweight to welterweight. So if you want to be compared with the all-time greats, going up, you know, 7 pound or 5 pound is not really that such a big deal. And Armstrong wasn't that big. He wasn't a big guy. He even fought at middleweight. You know, within a space of less than 2 years, he fought 3 weights, and he held titles in 3 weights. So I don't see that. I mean, Barbados Joe Walcott was 5'1". He was a welterweight. Nobody even thinks about these things.
No doubt.
You know, I mean, Sam Langford fought Jack Johnson in 1904, and he only weighed 156 pounds.
Can I respond to this?
This is
Wait,
why.
no, hold on one second, Blaze.
This is why he's going to be compared to the greats of the past, the people that really took chances.
No doubt, Echo.
You know, I mean, like I said, I mean, Henry Armstrong fought for the featherweight title.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Peter Saron in October 29th, 1937. Then he went up to fight for the welterweight title. Right, that was May 31st, 38. Then he went back down to fight for the lightweight title. That was August 17th, 29th. And I'm telling you this out of my head because I know the history of boxing really well.
Right.
So no, I'm not, you know, comparing Tank to anybody. But the thing is, he's going to be compared to the people who went up in weight, like Duran went up to fight Leonard in June 20th, 1980. Wilfredo Benitez as well fought Leonard. He went up in weight as well. Went from junior welterweight. And Leonard was the big fish in them days. But you know, Benitez lost his title. That was 1979, November 30th. But lots of boxers have done this. You know, Archie Moore fought Floyd Patterson in 1954. He fought for the heavyweight title 3 times. He did. And he was a middleweight. So
yeah,
there's so many things to say, you know, why he should go up or why he shouldn't. It's not a height class, it's a weight class. And he can make that weight. He can make 140 quite easily. And he probably be stronger as well.
No doubt.
And he's not small. He's not a small. I mean, Pernell Whitaker was junior middleweight titleist, and he was only 5'6".
No doubt. All right, Echo. Let me go ahead and move on, and I'm going to go to J.R. Spock because I do have another question as far as we're going to get into these fights a little bit this weekend as well. But I want to interject real quick to say that that was interesting of Echo to break down the history of fighters moving around in weight to chase greatness and challenge themselves in different ways. And I think there is a certain generation and a boxing fan. I don't want to trigger nobody and say hardcore boxing fan versus casual, but I will say there is a bracket of boxing fan who does who do consider you being great in comparison to what the greats have done, right? They look at what the greats have done and they use that as a barometer to measure as to how to judge you as far as how great you are. I mean, there's some fans who live more in the present moment who just, judge a fighter based on his contemporaries, his peers that are available for him to fight right then and there, what he can do. But, there's this other section of fighters who just, boxing fans who, if you ask them if this fighter is great, the same way that Artur Beterbiev's coach was confronted with a question about Tank Davis's right to be a Hall of Fame fighter, and he simply went back to what he knows. And he said, listen, in today's time, I could see that happening, but in a different era, he didn't see that happening because of what fighters were doing in that time period. So I think that's fair, across the board. I'm going to go down to J.R. Spock. And I don't know if you want me to call you John or J.R. Spock. It don't matter to me. He's the guy. He's one of the foundational grassroots supporters of this channel. And in the late evenings, it's a pleasure to see you back on. I ain't seen you on a panel in a long time. So salute to you, King. What's on your mind?
Oh, nothing much. Kind of hard to follow up after Echo there. He's a dang historian of boxing.
Right.
And we pretty much touched on all the points and stuff. The only thing I could say is I respect fighters that want to stay in their weight division. I understand that. The only thing I would ask is that they fight the number 1, 2, 3 in their organization, and then they take on other belt holders, and we're not getting that from Tank. So that's my problem. But that's all I really have to say on that.
No doubt, man. JR, no doubt. Yo, Blaze, I'll give you a quick 30 seconds to kind of like answer what you were trying to answer. I don't want to be long because I got other questions I want you guys to get at before it's time to bounce. So I do remember that you wanted to say something. I don't know if you remember what you wanted to say, but the floor is definitely yours if you want to speak.
I do.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Echo. One thing about it is, OG, you respect the elders, man. Boxing was a different thing back in the day. You feel me? When you was world champion before all the sports and TV and all of that, that really meant something. Them guys it was just something different, bro. So I'm not gonna compare Tank ever to them era of those legends, bro, because he's in a total different thing. He's in this business of boxing, in which is the business is nasty, and he's trying to maximize his opportunities to be successful, monetary wise, but also be great as a fighter. So I just wanted to, just to see here Echo, man, that's great. You get that boxing lesson. It's important. I love YouTube. We need to all go back and watch all them fighters, because when you watch and do the eyeball test, it's like, man, them guys was nasty work. Like you take a haggler, you feel me? And if you want to just compare southpaws, right? You go and watch that man, how he worked. It's ridiculous, So I just want to name that. I ain't come here to dispute Echo. I ain't come here to dispute anybody here right here. It's right now, But like, yeah, man, that's different, bro. This is not the boxing that we're watching right now. And we need to all make that very clear and understand that they paved the way. That's why we have a platform. That's why we're boxing fans is so avid right now, because we got all that tape coming into what we're looking at right now. And we want to see somebody like that. But the balance is with the business. And then also what I want to say, I think the level of competition as far as sports medicine, health, all that stuff, I think it's kind of different now when you're running parity, when you're running the top. And I would just end like, shout out to the last great fight I think we've seen at the highest level was that Bivol and Beterbiev, right? That's what it looks like.
Right.
That's what it looks like when you're in shape, when you're in your prime, at your top, have a style, and it's a chess match, man. That's that old school boxing right there. And so I just wanted to name that and shout out, this is why we talk about it. So shout out to Echo.
Hey, no doubt, man. And you know what? I forgot I got a timer on my phone. So I'm gonna actually do that so we can. I'm gonna hold everybody to like 1 minute and 30 seconds, or maybe I might just do 2 minutes and then closing arguments 1 minute and 30 seconds. That way, nobody's getting too long winded and everybody gets an opportunity. To say their piece. And I think that's gonna train everybody as well to be on panels and to share the time equally, because these panels are real productive. They really get really informative, and it's a great experience to watch everybody communicate. I think managing the time though at times is there's an art to it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try and give a shot at it by using my timer here. All right. So we're going to move on topics here as far as Tank Davis is concerned. Now, as far as Keyshawn Davis is concerned in his division right now, and this is a big fight for him tomorrow night. A big, huge fight, the biggest fight. I mean, it's a big deal, clearly. I mean, he got Gervonta Tank Davis, going at him on Twitter. And obviously in a division that is in my opinion, in the beginning of becoming one of those divisions again, because it kind of went to sleep a little bit with Tank being on his hiatus for what he was going through with Shakur and his negotiation issues with Top Rank. And, Dennis Berinchyk kind of came out of nowhere and became a WBO champion, and Vasily Lomachenko really unsure of what his future is going to be, whether or not he's going to retire and vacate that belt, or whether or not he's going to compete and defend that belt and obviously join the conversation in title unifications and things of that nature. Somebody like Keyshawn Davis coming with that young energy. He's a ball of fire. His interviews, he doesn't hold anything back. He doesn't shy away from the big hard questions. I think he's somebody who could bring a lot of light to the division, but he doesn't do nothing until he gets through Gustavo Lemos tomorrow. So I'm definitely interested in everybody's perspective on what they think the fight looks like tomorrow. And after the fight tomorrow, depending on the results of the fight, what's next for Keyshawn Davis, not just for fighting. Forget about the fights, but also who is he now in the 135-pound division? Who do we see him as, depending on his performance tomorrow? And we can start that with we can start where we left off at. We can start right there with JR Spark, being that that's where we left off at, and we can come back the other way now. So JR, feel free to speak. You got 1 minute and 30 seconds, brother, to speak your piece. I'm going to start the clock right now. Go ahead, brother.
Sorry, brother. I've dazed out there for a second. We're talking about Keyshawn, right? And what this fight means to him and so forth.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think is going to happen in the fight tomorrow? And also, after this fight, if he comes out victorious, who is he the next day in the 135-pound division now?
I mean, well, first off, I'll say I personally thought Lemos beat Hitchens. So if Keyshawn beats him, that there's that much more respect for him in my mind. Secondly, Lemos, the way that he brings the pressure and smothers you, I feel like it's going to be hard for Keyshawn to have a performance that really stands out. He's probably going to edge out a decision or something like that in my mind. And I also fear possibly Lemos, like he's slightly edging out the win, but then not getting it on the scorecards, because we've seen that habitually this year in America. We've got foreign fighters coming in here, outpointing the American fighter, 7-5 rounds or whatever, and then we're giving it to the American fighter by 2 or 3 rounds. So I could definitely see something like that happening. But if he does manage to put on an impressive performance, I think honestly it's mostly just the hardcores that know who Lemos is that's going to give him the respect. Other than that, he just is going to kind of continue on his upward trend in terms of status and publicity. I am excited to see where Keyshawn goes, but I'm not sure if Tank ever gives him that fight. So that's all I got.
Got you. That was a timer. I don't know if you guys heard it go off in the background. All right, we can move on to Blaze. How you feel about this fight tomorrow, and how significant is this in the 135-pound division? What does this mean for the 135-pound division if Keyshawn Davis is able to dominate this guy tomorrow night? Obviously, also for everybody in the panel to understand that this is for a title eliminator. I think the person who wins this fight will be like somewhat of an interim WBO title holder, which puts them damn near as a mandatory for Dennis Berinchyk. So the fight holds significance in that way. But what does this mean for the division if Keyshawn Davis is able to prove himself tomorrow night by having the kind of performance that he's trying to have? And feel free to share also what kind of performance you think he needs to have to be that guy in the division. But what do you think happens in this fight tomorrow night and the significance of the fight? A pound for pound.
The businessman. Wearing my suit. But yeah, I got my timer on too.
Right. There we go.
Listen, man, I'm a Keyshawn fan. I just like that dog in him. And I'm a agree with Spock saying, just the level of competition, right? And then, under the big lights. So, as a fan, I'd be like, get him out of there, want him to look like he looked against other fighters. But I want him to fight his fight and be solid. I think he's that good. I think he got the fundamentals, to fight a solid fight. I think he understands the moment too. I think, and so, what I'm interested to see, we about to see. Well, did he have solid training camp? Is he focused, right? Does he come in there sharp, right? We about to see it because this is his moment. He's headlining Friday night fights. And those of us who's boxing fans, Friday night fights used to be that thing. That's where we seen all the break our stars start right here. Headlining Friday night fights. And then it's lining up for him. It's a title eliminator. Then boom, he can fight for a title. Then he's talking unification when he come and talk that Tank shit. And ain't nothing nobody can say. So I think, man, it's good for the sport, man. If Keyshawn handles his business and looks like he looked before, then it makes 35 more interesting. We ain't talking about Tank going to 140 no more. We'll be talking about him fighting Keyshawn. We'll be talking about unification. Then we'll be talking about, hey, is there a way for these guys to be undisputed all down here? We'll be talking about Keyshawn fighting his best friend. You feel me? And how that's going to play out with the little niggas. You feel me? So I'm complete. That's my time.
Yo, that was official, man. I love that breakdown right there, man. I like how you said now we don't got to worry about Tank going to 140 because I like that. I like that, man. That was good stuff right there. Yo, shout out to Carl Brown in the building. You know what it is. You got 1:30 seconds. I don't know if I need to repeat the question. Keyshawn's fighting tomorrow night. Big win for Keyshawn tomorrow night. 135-pound division. After Keyshawn has the victory that he's saying he's gonna have tomorrow night. How significant is it? And also,
come on.
Please feel free to share if you think there's going to be an upset or anything as well. So, yeah, go ahead. Just how you feel about the fight tomorrow, and what 135 looks, what the 135-pound division looks like after a great performance by Keyshawn Davis tomorrow. You got 1:30 seconds, and I'm starting the clock now.
All right, look, I'm gonna start off just by saying this, and I think we all gotta agree that Keyshawn made this fight more of him gotta go put a performance on, and he gotta look good just off the fact of you talking about another fighter. I ain't just talking about Tank, just period. You talking about another fighter going into a fight. 9 times out of 10, we all kind of know how it looks if you don't look good. You know what I mean? Because it's showing signs that you overlooking this guy. Maybe Keyshawn not, but for us as boxing fans, that's how it looks. So he has to go in there and look good now. He can't go in there and just lay an egg. He can't go in there and try to, if this guy got power, he has to weather the storm. He can't go running around, which I don't see Keyshawn doing anyway. But as Lemos, I'm sorry. I did go back and look at a couple of his fights. I did. Keyshawn is too sharp with straight down the middle shot. This guy, Lemos, he swing wide punches, even to the body. Nothing comes straight. I seen a couple of shots came straight, but a lot of his swinging come around and around. And Keyshawn loved to send him straight down the middle with combinations, and then he do the double up with the body shot. So I think, yeah, I got Keyshawn by stoppage early.
No doubt. Hold on a second, let me X out of this. Okay, we're gonna go ahead with Ray. Ray, you want to go last and let Too Rich go in, or you want to build on it right now?
I'll jump in real quick and shout out to Too Rich for coming up.
Ray,
shout out.
Co-host, so I'm definitely going to give him the 2:30 seconds without a doubt. He definitely going to get, you know what I'm saying, some time to bail.
So I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna be quick. I'm gonna give it my thoughts.
All right.
First of all, I'm gonna break down the fight
on you. 2 minutes 30 seconds. Go ahead.
All right. So the breakdown I see is the way to keep the road to victory for Keyshawn Davis is he's going to have to move laterally. He's going to have to find a body on Lemos. Lemos is a very high level pressure fighter. He's going to come in there, and anything Keyshawn does, if you think that he's just going to get in there and he's going to be able to land that jab, because I was thinking the same thing, he's got to be quick. He's got to do it early and set the tone. So I do agree with Carl on that. If he sets the tone with that jab with a nice little hook, quickly and set that tone, he may be able to do something. But if he does not, he fails to do so, and he's going to have to move laterally. He's going to have to attack the body, and he's going to have to break this Lemos guy down. We already seen Lemos with the fight with Hitchens and other fighters where he has a really low elbow protection to his abdomen area, so he's able to keep that body and his face covered from big shots. But I think Keyshawn has the speed to do so, but he can't find himself lackadaisical. And when he moves laterally, he has to be on the lookout that this guy is a great fighter, and he can catch and time Keyshawn and put him out. So Keyshawn has to be on his 1s and 2s as well as Lemos on his side. They have to really. It's going to be a chess match, and I'm going to see it happening live tomorrow night. I'll be at work, but I'm going to watch it and I'm going to see what happens. We'll see if this comes into play, the lateral movement in this fight, because it is a big puncher that Keyshawn is fighting.
Oh, sweet. You actually did that in 1:30 seconds. Damn, bro. I don't think you could have done that on purpose if I asked you to do it. Shout out to Too Rich. I respect the belts in the building. What's up, Too Rich? Salute.
Hey, what's going on, Clay and Rake? What's going on, panel? Yeah, man, I just want to say, y'all pretty much broke it down. Like I say, I think Limo, some of them punches a little wide. I think Keyshawn should be able to get in between them. And I just hope he ain't too amped up with all this tank talk. I hope he focused or whatever the case may be. But if he should win, which I'm thinking he will win, this is gonna the door gonna get smaller on Tank Davis, because if he wins this fight, more than likely the fight with Baranchek gonna be set up, and now Keyshawn becomes a champion. And I think the PBC is reluctant to make fights with Top Rank if you really look at what's going on. So Keyshawn winning, it's gonna force a fight, or it's gonna force Tank to move to 140 and fight either Rayo or Pitbull, whoever wins that fight. So I think it'll be, if Keyshawn can pull this off, it'll be great for that division. And also, I think we start to force a fight, or we force Tank to run. So I'm looking for big things, man. I hope he pull it out.
No doubt, man. Thank you, man. Now I'm telling you, this Tama thing, woo, this is right here. Go, bro. I think I done figured this thing out, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Hold on a second. I'm gonna bring Echo in the building. Echo, man. I don't know if you've been paying close attention to I know you pay attention to boxing, but you across the pond, you know what I mean? You got England has a culture of boxing within itself, but over here, this is a big fight in the 135-pound division. Keyshawn Davis gets to headline his first card. Big fight against Gustavo Limos, coming off of an arguable win over Richard Hitchinson, and in a division right now that one of the faces of boxing coexisting in Tank Davis. How does this fight look like to you, happening between him and Gustavo Limos, and what does the 135-pound division look like depending on the results of this fight tomorrow night? And the timer's at 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay. I agree with what Blaze said. This is a fight that is important for Keyshawn, but he's got to make sure he's on the ball. Mm-hmm. He cannot, be thinking about Tank. He has to be fully focused on the fight. But however, his brothers have said that he's going to knock him out. And I believe he can do. Because I was very impressed with Keyshawn when he fought Pedraza in February. And I thought he did a really good job. That was a really tough fight for him, but it's showing, like what Blaze said, he's got the dog in him. He's got the real dog. And I believe this could be the difference in this fight. But he's still got to be patient, because he can't run onto anything, like Ray said. The most important thing for him is to be tactically and be aggressive, but make sure that he's not reckless. I mean, that's what I've got to say, really. I'm not going to say anymore.
Oh, sweet, man. This stopwatch, when I put that pressure
on you guys
get through it. I love it. That was a minute even. You had a whole extra 30 seconds. You ain't take it. Listen, I ain't mad at you.
I don't need another minute.
Oh, you got it, brother. I want to move on to another question for the panel here. And I got a lot of them, so we're going to do them until, I don't know. I am going to have to dip out at some point, but we got a lot of questions here. I'm going to let you guys know right now. Abdullah Mason, man. Prospect of the year candidate. Most people, I don't think, would say he's even candidate. I think they would just say he's prospect of the year, right? But we'll just say prospect of the year candidate, because everybody is due to their opinion. They have their opinions, right? But a great fighter, one of the most active fighters of this calendar year. This man is on pace with this fight to be at 6 fights for the calendar year. And I'm being honest with you, his last fight was in if you count it from July, if you count it from August of this summer, this is really like his 7th fight, right? But he's been super active. At the end of the day, Bob Arum, Top Rank, has gotten behind this kid and made him so active. You almost it's without a doubt Bob Arum has big plans for Abdullah Mason. This fight he got coming up against a Johan Vasquez. This kid has a decent record. This will be an 8-round fight for Abdullah Mason, his 4th 8-round fight. They still call him a prospect. His record sits at 15 wins with 13 knockouts. He stopped his last 5 fights. This will be his 6th fight. That'll be a stoppage if he stops him in this fight. These fights have not made it out of the 4th round. Most of them haven't made it out of the 2nd round. This kid is just showing he's checking all of the boxes. A victory for Johan Vasquez. For Abdullah Mason. Oh my God, what am I talking about? For Abdullah Mason tomorrow night. Does Abdullah Mason cross over into the contender bracket after this fight tomorrow? Has he fought enough at a prospect level? Have we seen enough for him to leave that prospect level and become a contender? And what do you guys see for Abdullah Mason next year being a great standout year that he's had this year? What does Abdullah Mason's next step look like after a performance like if it's like his other performance after a great performance tomorrow night? We'll start where we left off at, which is we'll start with Echo, and then we'll work our way back up. Echo, you got the clock on you. Minute 30 seconds. Feel free.
Yeah, I think he's been carefully matched, and that's one thing that Top Rank are very good. They're good at matchmaking, and they're going to carefully matchmake him, but push him as well. And basically, they're going to try and keep him winning and winning and winning, and keep going up there till he's ready to go and fight the big guys. Really, basically, they're going to try and make him at the point where he can actually go for the people like Tank, and that's what they're going to do. I mean, 7 fights in a year. That's quite a lot in today's standards, but he's not moving too quick. They're moving him just right, and really, Top Rank have always done this with their fighters. They've always carefully matched them, especially within their own as well. And they know how to match, and it'll be carefully matched. And I think it will be good for the new year for sure.
Salute. Any plans? You got 30 seconds left. Do you see him running any title shots or anything that for next year?
Not yet. No. But they'll carefully match him and put him up there to beat the people he can do. But they'll steadily build him up more and more. And eventually they'll if Tank's still around at 135 and he's still there, that's what they'll try and make it. That's what Bob's trying to do, I believe.
Oh wow, you see him in a conversation with Tank at some point. Okay, and 1 and 0 and time. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move up to our left here. We're gonna go back in the way we left out, and we're gonna go ahead with Too Rich. Too Rich, you got a minute 30 seconds. Significance of this fight. What do you expect from it? And a real question I want everybody to make sure they answer before they leave. When and what point, if this is not the fight, when does this kid become a contender, or does he become a contender after a stellar performance tomorrow night?
All right. Hey, I mean, he looked like he got the goods, man. You know, he's not fighting the best competition now. He ended up with tomato cans, but as far as me looking the way he delivers his punches and retracts it for defense, I'm impressed by those fundamentals. He looked real sharp, but you know, I think it's time. I don't know if he wins, if he's ready for contender level, but it's definitely time to step it up to somebody a little bit tougher. You know, I know Top Rank like to matchmake. They fight is good and they do a good job, but sometimes I like to see a fighter matched against somebody that maybe not his match. Because when you get to fighting champions, that's when the matchmaking fall apart. So I'm just ready to see him step it up a little bit, you know, not trying to rush him, but just want to see him step it up. But I don't think he's ready to be a contender, but definitely, you know, step up the level of competition.
Okay. Once again, another knock him down in a minute answer. So he stays at prospect level after this fight still? Or I mean, what are we gonna say about him? Are we just gonna leave him down there at the prospect level?
Well, I just want to see him take a step up fight. I don't know if that's a contender fight or just a step up fight. Like, look at Keyshawn. Top Rank didn't want that fight with Keyshawn with the guy Keyshawn fighting. Keyshawn chose that fight. So, and I think that's you know, you need to do that sometimes. You need to step outside the comfort zone a little bit. But they don't need to rush them. But you know, maybe one more fight and then let's step it up.
All right, we out of time. Thank you. All right, so JR Spock, you know what the question is. Watching Abdullah Mason, prospect of the year, does he leave prospect status tomorrow night, or does he still have more to go?
Well, I mean, if they had pushed him a little bit further and faster, I'd say he's ready for that prospect status. But like Too Rich was saying, he hasn't really fought the competition to rank him at that point. I'm personally getting tired of watching him dunk on everybody and do circles around him. I mean, I'm ready for somebody else that's a little bit closer to his level. I don't necessarily want to see him get beat or nothing. I'm anticipating and looking forward to a young phenom in the sport. I feel like we're lacking that nowadays with how slow the progression is with these fighters. This is a young man's game. You shouldn't be 30 years old and be a prospect. You know what I mean? So let's get this guy moving. Let's give him some tougher fights, and I'm gonna be watching.
No doubt. Another minute. Yo, I might have to lower it to the minute. You guys looking like the minute and a half is too much.
Well, the thing is, too rich for whatever reason, man. Like, this dude thinks exactly how I think. So everything he said, it was exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, shout out to Too Rich. Too Rich got
man.
those breakdowns. Man. I ain't gonna lie, man. Too Rich to do it to you. Going after him is kind of like going after that comedian. You know what I mean? Like, hey, nah, bro, don't stop putting me behind that dude, bro. Shout out to you, JR Spock. Yo, pound for pound. I know you got some energy for Abdullah Mason. You didn't see Abdullah Mason up at this point. 7 fights in the last 12 months, brother. 7 fights. You know what I mean? What does it look like for this kid after tomorrow night? Are you ready to see him be in a contender status and start fighting, you know, some actual ranked fights that actually get him up there and get a championship? Or is he still a puppy? Does he still need to get some things going and you haven't seen enough and the matchmaking's been great, but you're not that impressed yet? What do you think, pound for pound? Blaze, you're not there. Blaze stepped away. So we're going to walk away from Blaze and we're going to move on to the next guy. Shout out to Carl Brown in the building. Same question to you, brother. I'll reset the clock for you. I don't think I need to re-ask it. What do you think about Abdullah Mason after tomorrow? What are you expecting from him and what does it look like for him after tomorrow's performance? You're mute.
Yeah. You can hear me now?
Yeah, you clear.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real short and sweet. If Abdullah Mason go in this fight, then wash this guy out. Take the leash off. Like we see the good. Don't do what they did with Boots. Don't keep on feeding him tomato cans after tomato cans. Let's see him really just, you know, give us what we all asking for. Good fight. Match him up with the Floyd Schofield. Match him up with the Keyshawn Davis. You know what I mean? Like, give it to him. And go in the back. And I think that's it. I think
that movement, that was a bad move when you opened that door. That threw it all off. You should have stayed still. All right, we're gonna move on to Ray Davis. Ray Davis in the building. You know what it is, bro. You know you got the 2 minutes and change. I don't know if you need that much time, but what you think about Abdullah Mason? What does it look like for him after tomorrow night? Is he still a prospect after tomorrow night, or has he done enough for you to see him actually be a contender and start fighting some top 10 or at least top 15 fighters in the division and put himself in some title contention at some point, maybe by the end of the year, even getting an interim or a title shot? What do you think?
Okay, so my biggest thing is I think Abdullah Mason, number one, is really big for the division. I think this is a great point of him. I think it is time to move him into contention, full contention, to start getting him well about with some of the bigger names and better fighters. That's number one. Number two, I want to say I think Abdullah Mason, and I think nobody's going to agree with me on this, but the guy had almost six. This is the sixth fight this year. And within a year, right? Within a year, this is his sixth fight. And I'm going to say this guy is a workhorse. He's the pedigree of what you would call American football running back. This guy's been putting it all together and he's been dominating. So I say he's definitely, in my opinion, fighter of the year, for staying busy like he is and on a win streak that he has been. I know it sounds crazy, but to my point, I think that Abdullah Mason has been showing great poise and great understanding of what he is. And the guy said he wants a belt. So he's not moving into contention to just stay stagnant for a year or 2 or 3 years. years for these guys to clear up the division for him to get a shot. He wants to move into contention. I see Abdullah Mason not only taking a few fights there at 135 to see if he can make some power moves, and if it doesn't work out, jumping into 140, where I think he'll be more comfortable with making weight and putting on a better performance there. Because not only is he going to put on that size, he's going to actually put on more power. And he's going to be more dominant because he's the younger, faster fighter, where he can actually stay true to the game and make himself a real champion at a better division with some heavy hitters up there. So I'm going to give it that note, but I think Abdullah Mason's went well on his way to be a champion.
Right at the minute 32nd mark, boy, you guys is different. When I put that clock on you, you guys is different. Listen, I just want to give a fun fact about Abdullah Mason's last 6 fights. I know we're calling them tomato cans, and I don't think they're like the top of the level, but look, for whatever it's worth, his last 6 fights, all the fighters have had winning records, and we're talking about we'll go back to February, or we'll go back to November of 2023. Till right now, since we're in November, and we'll look at Jose Cardenas, who was 7 wins, 1 loss. The next fight against Benjamin Gurman, who was 8 wins, 0 losses at that point. Ron had 14 wins, 5 losses. Luis LeBron had 20 wins with 5 losses. Mike Ohan Jr., 19 wins and 2 losses. And this guy he's fighting against here, Johan Vasquez, sitting at 26 wins with 5 losses and has an 80% knockout ratio. You know what I mean? Out the Dominican Republic. I don't know, man. I know he's not fighting the best of the best, but I say for a prospect, what do you guys think about that? I'll give you guys 30 seconds each. You know what I'm saying? To just kind of, what do you think about that record? Does that change anything? Does that hold any weight? That record, or is it still the same thing? We'll go back to Ray. We'll go back to Ray Davis and go back around the room. Ray, what do you think about that record? That fun fact.
I think sometimes records speak for themselves, but just sometimes records are things that are just smoke and mirrors. You might see a guy in a competitive fight where they get a bad break and a loss. I think that this is actually a fight in disguise, or a record in disguise. I think this is going to be a challenge. It's going to be something worthwhile. I don't like the terminology of this guy is a pushover or easy fight. Some guys are guys that work at Home Depot and they pick up at the train station, wherever the case may be, just to have a fight go on. But some of these guys who've been fighting have been professionals with more than 12 fights. So he hasn't been fighting anybody that has been lackluster of the case. So I'm going to give him all the accolades and say this is a great opponent for him.
All right, no doubt. Yo, Carl, man, I'll give you 30 seconds. I read that record off. Did you hear the record? Did you hear what I said with the fights? All right, you didn't hear it? You're on mute. I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna run it down for you one more time. Hold on a second. What is this thing doing, bro?
Yeah, repeat it.
All right, hold on. All right.
You heard me?
Yeah, why is this thing? These technology, bro, be so crazy. All right. Well, I was reading off the last 5 fights that he's had, because we're talking about like he's been pretty much matchmake against some tomato cans, right? Some easy fights for him. And I'm just reading off the records here to say that his last 5 fights was in November of 2023 fought Jose Cardenas, a guy who was 7 wins, 1 loss. He TKO'd that guy in the 2nd round. Benjamin Gurman was his next fight. He KO'd that guy in the 2nd round, and that guy was 8 wins. He was an undefeated fighter. Then Ronald Ron was his next fight, 14 wins, 5 losses. He TKO'd him in the 4th round. Luis LeBron, his next fight, was a fighter with 20 wins and 5 losses. He TKO'd him in the 3rd round. Mike Ohan Jr., his last fight, a guy who had 19-2. He knocked him out in the 2nd round. So, what do you think about his record? And you got 30 seconds as far as does the record hold any weight? Were the fighters better than you thought they were, or is it the same thing? You just need to see him step up.
No, I think everybody went through the same phase. The only thing about him, we can say that the 26 pounders or whatever he's pulling up. But at the end of the day, that's why we want, because look, he's doing what he's supposed to do to them. He's doing what he's supposed to do to them. So that's why I'm saying, just take the leash off. I'm ready to see him. I'm ready to see what he, like, how his legs look when he get cracked. I want to see how he bounce back. Yeah, that's all. Take the leash off.
No doubt, man. Go over to Too Rich. Too Rich, same question to you. Does that record hold any weight for you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with what he's done thus far. I think he's fought the fights he needs to. But like I say, he's 15-0 now. I just want to see him. I don't think it's more so about the record, but it's about the class. He's shown himself to be in a little bit upper class. So I just want to see him step up in class. Hey, that guy might have a loss when he steps up in class, but it's just a step up in class. I mean, you're showing yourself to be better than the level that they got you at. Okay, that's good. Now let's go to the next level before I think we go to contender. Let's put him in there with somebody, like he said, might crack back a little bit, and not put him in some super dangerous, just a step up in class, not necessarily record, but step up in class. But I don't have a problem. I'm a top ranked guy, so I know top rank got good fighters, good training, but I just think it's time to just step up in class.
No doubt, man. No doubt. We're gonna go over it. I see JR got disconnected or something. We're gonna go with Echo. Echo, did that record hold any weight for you? Did he fight good fighters? Or I kind of agree with what you Rich said, man. A whole lot. I actually agree with what everybody said here. As far as the class of fighters, and even shout out to Hunter Young, who said y'all acting like dudes who fight in band camps aren't going undefeated or only 2 losses. The record holds no weight. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm messing with that. But what do you think, Echo, about that record as far as the kind of fighters he's been fighting? Has he been fighting easy fighters regardless, or does it change any perspective on changing him from a contender to a prospect after a dominating win tomorrow night?
As I said earlier, Top Rank, they match really well, and they're going to do that in the right way that they feel is right. However, like Ray said, sometimes the other guy's record don't always portray what that person is. Because a lot of times a boxer's heart is not on the record, you know what I mean? So it depends on who he fights. And it probably is a good time for him to step up. But Top Rank will do that when they feel he's ready for that. And each fight will be judged. He's had 6 fights. So they're carefully, thinking about what's happening each time. And they're not going to waste time if they don't need to. But they're not also going to rush him into the top 10, maybe top 15, maybe.
Okay.
But I think, what's happening has been really good so far.
All right, no doubt. I'm gonna go ahead and just let JR spot get his little spot if he's ready. I don't know. Let's let him go last because he looks like he's getting comfortable. Let's let Pound for. Are you ready, JR, or do you want to get it together?
Yeah, I'm ready. Sorry, I'm
okay. You got 30 seconds. Did that record mean anything, or is it?
It does. I mean, it's better than seeing like fighters with like a 1-11 record or something, right? So it does equate to something. But I mean, unless we see the competition of those fighters and their records, it's really hard to get a true base of what's going on there. It's more likely that those guys have fought a bunch of cans and built up a small record of sorts. Yeah. But I mean, regardless, I mean, there's dudes like Jonathan Lopez who beat Mason in the amateurs, sitting at 17-0. Of course, he's 5 pounds under his division now. But there's other dudes out there that are a lot more suitable for Mason to pick. And that's my major discrepancy with his record.
No doubt. Over to you, Pound for Pound. You know what the question is. You heard the record. You heard the fighters that he fought. Does that hold any weight, or are you still not on the chat right in the panel right now? Yeah, he bounced out for a second. I'm gonna pull him down for a second. That way we don't keep running into him. All right, so look, man, Abdullah Mason tomorrow night, big performance for him. Just another fight under the belt, from what I can tell from on the panel. It doesn't put him in the contender status tomorrow night. It sounds like everybody pretty much saying we're not ready to put him in contender status until he fights somebody significant, not before, but after. And maybe we can we'll see what the matchmaking is for him there at that point. I don't know. Top Rank is good at this, man. They're good at developing their fighters and building their fighters up. They're doing a great job with Abdullah Mason, man, and we'll see what he does. Guys, we're running on damn near 3 hours. online. I also got a live I got to do later with Blue Blood Sports. You guys check in with Blue Blood Sports. Hey, shout out to everybody who showed up on the channel. If you guys haven't subscribed, I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the likes before you leave. I'll let everybody get a closing argument or a closing statement if they want. You know what I mean? Just to show some love to the platform or to the fighters fighting tomorrow night. We do have Jaron Ennis's card as well. Unfortunately, I mean, I kind of want to go at it. I'm dumb like that, but I do got shit to do today, guys. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie to you. I kind of want to go down some significant fights. I think Jaron, maybe I'll give like a 30-second real quick, like, all right, you know what? F it. Let's do it. Jaron Ennis card tomorrow night. Got some significant fights on that card. We got Jaron Ennis versus I'm not doing it, bro. We already talked about enough. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. It is what it is, man. We gotta go, man. And I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity to say something, and then we out of here, bro. We can start off with where we left off and go right back in with J.R. Spock and let him say his thing.
Yeah, I'll just close by saying I really appreciate everybody coming on the panel and chatting it up in the chat room. So thanks for everybody participating, and thank you, Claymore and Ray, for putting on the show. And I'll stay tuned. I love you guys. You guys have a great day.
Hey, you too, man.
Brother.
Thank you, man. Love you too, brother. Salute, JR.
No Diddy though. No Diddy. But
yeah,
we
no
do
Diddy.
love him back.
Nothing but love. Yo, salute to Echo. How you feeling, Echo?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been really, really good to hear everybody's perspective, and yeah, I think there's a lot of things to look forward to, you know, in the next few days for sure. Some good fights, and yeah, I'm really enjoying this chat as well. You know, with the panel, it's really good. By the way, what time are you going on with Blood today?
Somewhere between 3:30 and 5, man. It's on Blue, really. You know what I mean? I would say, safely speaking, probably about 4:30, 4 o'clock, but we'll see. It's on Blue.
Oh, okay.
You know, he's always so gracefully, you know what I mean, late. So we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you showing up on the channel, Echo, for sure, man. Too Rich, what's good? What's on your mind, brother?
Hey man, I just gonna close with this, man. If you get a chance, man, check out my short I just dropped yesterday on the Boots fights, man. And you know, it was the things to look for. Boot swing wide. Sometimes his right hand is always behind his shoulder. And look for Karen, the land that left on the inside. I showed some clips of Karen timing them. So I got Boots winning that fight, but I'm not shocked to see Boots stunned in this fight. Karen wants to fight. He's knocked out 2 of the 3 of his last opponent. I think the game planner for Boots, and I don't think Boots is game planner for Karen. I think he's just training to be Boots, and I think it's going to be more interesting, but I got Boots winning. But yeah, check that short out if you get a chance, man. See if you agree with what I'm saying or what I'm showing.
No doubt. And for whatever it's worth, man, I'm kind of with you on this one. I think this fight has the potential to be more interesting than what people think it's going to be. I think Karen has a lot of data to process that he's processed. I think that Eastern European background, that's what they do, right? They strategize, they watch videos, they try to fix the mistakes. I don't expect Karen. I don't think anybody should expect the same Karen they saw in that first fight to be in this fight. I think you're going to see a Karen with more of a game plan. Now that he's been in there with Boots, now that he's understanding what he's dealing with, he's going to try to come up with a strategy to become an IBF champion tomorrow. I mean, on Saturday, he's trying to get a belt, and Boots will probably adjust, and him and Bozy will probably work it out. But as far as entertainment, as far as a competitive fight is concerned, I wouldn't be shocked at all if this was a very competitive fight. I'll be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
All right, man. That's it for me. I'm gonna check you out on Blue.
All right, no doubt, brother. No doubt, brother. I'm gonna go ahead and put and send it over to Carl, and then we'll close it out with Ray. It looks like here for boxing want to step in too, but he just dipped out. I don't know what he's going to do.
Nah, I'm here.
Oh, I brought you in. Oh, he left. What it is I brought you in at the same exact time he left. All right. But I'm gonna bring it to Carl real quick. Carl, if you want to close out anything, you got like 30 seconds. Do you think?
Yeah. About the Boots thing, Clay. I mean, I'm gonna be real. I think Boots is looking at this fight the same way we looking at this fight as for Karen. I think Boots know, because I seen it. And then what he just said last time about his short, I seen the shot that Cameron was landing on the inside, and then Boots did the Mike Tyson thing. Just go back and look at the fight. You will see it. So I think Boots know, like, this guy want another shot at. He not coming here to run around this time. This guy going to try to put something together, but I think Boots going to be ready for it, and I think we going to see a nasty good knockout. I ain't going to lie.
Yeah,
I think
see
it'll
it
be
the
vicious.
same way too. I agree with you too. I do think I ain't gonna lie. I see Boots stopping this guy, but I think that what I push back at is anybody who thinks that the fight won't be competitive or a good fight. I think Karen's gonna fight more than you guys are expecting him to fight, and that's gonna make it a good fight for us.
Yeah, definitely. And Clay, I mean, you know, I could type in your chat and stuff like that. I can't type in Blue chat, but I'll be hitting Blue up on Instagram when y'all go live. I was thinking about an idea. My bad but I was thinking about why you don't go live when Blue go live, so it'll be live on your channel too.
Oh, I never thought. Maybe I don't know. I'll talk to Blue about how to do that. That sounds interesting. That's like,
right. I think you should, Clay, because you like for real, like yo, you know boxing, Clay. You know what I mean? Right. No matter what I say about you, Clay. No matter what, but for real, Clay, you know boxing, man. Like, for real, get your platform, all the exposure you could, bro. Like, for real, when he go live, you go live. You live with him, but you still can have your live open too. Cause I seen somebody else do that too. So, Clay, I really hope you can do that. Not just because I could type in the chat, but I'm just saying, like, for real. But for real,
you know, conveniently put a chat that he could type into right quick. Yeah.
But you know that'll help you. You know, for real. And I do want to get bigger because I really do believe you. I see it. I hear it. You know boxing. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man. I'll think about doing that.
I'll check you later. I'll check you later. It's everybody on the panel, man. Like I say all the time, it's always fun to come up here and kick something with y'all. Like I said, I've never been on the channel with a whole bunch of knuckleheads. We all act like we got sense. We all got common sense. We know how to use our brains. So salute to y'all, and I appreciate you, Clay. Real talk.
No doubt. Appreciate you, brother.
That's real shit right there.
Yeah, here for boxing. Go ahead, brother. Whenever you feel it. How you doing, by the way, man?
I'm good, man. I had running errands. Just got me a fresh cut to sit in the house all week. You know how it goes over here, man.
You fought tough. I feel you mentally dealing with it all, man. Taking care of it all.
Nah, I just wanted to give y'all flowers, man. I ain't really got a whole lot to say. I wanted to apologize again to the brother Nine Fingers because I spazzed at him a little bit because Tank fans, they trigger me sometimes when all you ask Tank is to do is fight. And they like, well, why you hate him so much? I never attacked him personally. I just said I want him to fight.
Right.
Why y'all get mad when we say we want him to fight people? But that's neither here nor there. But now I just want to give y'all flowers, man, for the platform y'all building, for the peace, the logic, the common sense that y'all brought to these spaces, that we showing people that we don't have to yell and scream and name call because we don't agree about two boxers who don't care about us.
Right.
We don't got to get personal. You know what I mean? That's why I wanted to apologize to bro, because I kind of got a little triggered because I don't like when they do that. Like, I just want y'all to make a fight. That's all. But yeah, man, that's all I really want to give y'all flowers, man. Y'all really building something. I'm here for y'all. You know, I'm one of the frontline boys. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good, bro. How you? I'm one of the.
I'm good, man. I ain't win the lottery yet. I ain't win the lottery yet, but we still playing and we still trying to win, and life is good, bro.
Man, you already know I'm here. You know I'm here every day, man. You already know.
No doubt,
all
brother.
Right, bro. Y'all brothers be safe, man.
All right, take it easy.
Bro.
Pound for pound, you back. You wanted to close it out with something, man. Go ahead, man. Speak your piece, my brother. By the way, I enjoy your input. I do, man. It was some real good input, some real good perspective, and I appreciate your patience too, man. And I say that because a lot of people come on these platforms and they want to debo, they want to overtalk everybody, they want to argue, they want to throw shots, they want to throw dirt. You know, this really ain't the platform from that. It's a platform for building. We're trying to build some good boxing conversations and build some great fights. And I think you contributed a lot today. I appreciate you, brother. But go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you letting me back in after I stepped away for a minute. But it's just good discussion. I think we got a great, Friday and Saturday of boxing. I'm big fans of Keyshawn. I'm big fans of Boots. And so I'm hoping they can handle their business, and send in the stardom and, create those fights with those other greats that we want to see, with the likes of Tanks, with the likes of maybe Bud, with the likes of, whoever else, as far as with Boots, fighting high level competition, unifying at 147 or whatever. So just thank you for having me on the platform.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you. Hey, shout out to the Queen, Rachel Donaire, one half of the team, one half of the Donaire team. wife to Nonito Daenerys in the building. Always appreciate you, sis, coming in here. And stop lying to these people telling them I'll be yelling at you. You know damn well I don't be yelling
But
at
you
you.
better stop yelling at Rachel. Stop yelling at Rachel. She always, it's okay though. She always steal my shit. Yeah, she always be stealing my thunder anyway. So all right, no worries. I'm just kidding. You know that.
Doubt. No
She
doubt. Right.
She's gonna yell at me. I'm about to get a text. I'm just kidding. Yeah, shout out to Rachel, man. Shout out. Listen, I just want to say it's been great. I'm glad we're doing this during the day. This has actually been a very productive conversation with all boxing fans from around the globe, and as we see, we do have people from around the globe. We're able to enhance our conversations and make these things formidable. Bring people to the table that have something to say, that have people to have ideas, to give other people's point of views, and able to collect and build on these things. By doing so, this allows us to have a broader base, to have real knowledge of what people think, what their plans are, and what the boxer may have intended, because it gives us a different point of view and perspective. I like what we're doing, Clay. I think. Thank you to everyone that came up here for Boxing Pound for Pound, which was I didn't get his name, Blaze, J.R. Spock, Echo, Carl Brown, always called in trouble like Charlie Brown, but it's okay, Carl Brown. We're gonna give you a pass today. And no other than Too Rich. Great guys, great boxing conversationists. It's been a pleasure talking to them today, and Clay, it's always a pleasure sitting next to you in this panel and telling everybody how we do business and how we want to build the boxing space to be credible again and bring it back to what it needs to be. Salute, my brother.
No doubt. Appreciate you, brother, and ditto, man. Back at you. You know what I'm saying? The weigh-ins are going on right now. With Keyshawn and Gustavo Limo. So I encourage you guys to go check those weigh-ins out. Let's see somebody get the fire slapped out of them or something on the stage. That'd be fire for them fight tomorrow night. Somebody just get the, you know what I'm saying? Get the Johnny Blaze slapped out of them, get a demon slapped out you on the stage. That'll get you right and wake you right up for the fight Friday. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody for contributing and engaging in the chat, man, engaging in the conversation. We're building this, man. We're doing this, man, and we're going to get better, man. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I'm trying to moderate this thing, worked out this little time clock thing that seemed to help push the needle and help move the conversation forward so we didn't get caught up on things too long. Hey, man, we all love boxing. We all fans of certain boxers. It's great to see that everybody can coexist in the same space. Feel free to defend your fighter. Feel free to, you know what I'm saying, hold these boxers accountable, or, you know, defend these fighters if you feel like other people are overbearing on them and putting too much on their shoulders. But, you know, at the end of the day, don't let nothing going on in this boxing conversation build no real indifference or tension between you and somebody you don't know about somebody you don't know. You know what I mean? Respect you guys. You guys check me out later on the Blue Blood Sports channel. I'm co-hosting on there with Blue. I don't know what time that's going to be yet. Blue will throw up the thumbnail and check out your notifications from when we do that. But on that note, and at this point, we was in this thing talking boxing, but at this point, let me do the outro music. We out.
We out.
Drowned in it. I can't come it down. Yeah, I'm way too fired up. I can't come it down. Ooh, yeah. I see the flashing lights. Make sure the fashion right. Yeah, I'm in my bag tonight. Yeah. Ooh, I might just pull up before it. Watch out, the engine is roaring. It's too loud, you can ignore it. Yeah. This the highlights for the view. You get to have it all, no need to choose. First, let me demonstrate how you can rise to the top. Yeah, I had to elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah, I had to elevate. They hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear.